Hi guys, I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. It threw us out of the other link, unfortunately.
Just kept buffering.
I'm
It's not
so
ideal.
sorry. I'm hoping people can come from the other link and join us here. There were quite a few, well, not quite a few, there were 7 waiting for us, and unfortunately, as soon as we clicked go live, it started buffering. I'm hoping everyone can come over from the other link to this link. So sorry, we had to start a new link. I'm hoping people can join us. We've put our novelty t-shirts on. Nice to see you, Annie. I'm so sorry about the inconvenience. I was just saying we could see people there, and I'd said hello, and as soon as we clicked to go live, it just buffered and just wouldn't let us continue. I'm hoping other people follow along.
Still a lot waiting on this.
There's still some people waiting on the other link. Can you comment on there and say we're on the new link? Hi, Jan. Sorry about the messing. I'd offer you a mince pie while you're waiting. Hope everyone's got a nice drink with them and some snacks. It is an arse, Annie, it is, especially for us older ones. We think we know it all, and when we try and do something like this, we know nothing, do we? But we're trying.
And then this one come on straight away.
Yeah. Hi, Janet.
Yeah, there's a few coming now.
Hi, Sadie. Thanks, everyone, for coming across. As I say, blooming inconvenience. As soon as we tried to press to go live, it just buffered. So we had no choice but to set up the new link. So as I was starting to say, we've actually put our novelty t-shirts on for you today. They are backwards, Mr. Wallflowers.
It's only backwards to us.
I was only backwards to us. Can everyone else see them the right way round? Oh, well, that's okay then. We bought these to go to our sons for Christmas last year. Cheap novelty t-shirts. But of course ours were washed and put away, so we've got them for a few uses, yes, obviously. Being frugal and all. I think they were actually Poundland specials, weren't they?
Yeah.
But of course, nothing ever costs £1 in Poundland anymore, does it?
£4.
I think they were £4 last Christmas. So I think everyone that was on the other link has come across with us now. So thanks everyone for coming across. So I don't know if you saw the video last night, but we were running so late yesterday because we took an awful lot on, didn't we?
Long day.
Mr. Wallflowers has been off all week, a week's holiday from work. Mentally, we'd planned to have a run to Southport, have a day out and do this and do that. And of course, none of that happened. Best laid plans. So we had a few lie-ins till about 10 o'clock in the morning, which was pretty nice, wasn't it?
It's getting up at 4.
Certainly does. Hi, Shy Fans. Lovely to see you.
France won the football. England got beat.
For anyone interested out there, they might want to know.
Mercedes.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
was a Poundland, you're right, Jan. Yeah. Our one's got a clothing section in it now. And I think the cheapest item is about £7 or £8, isn't it?
The t-shirts about 3 or 4.
Yeah, they are, but they're on the first rack. They're like a lost leader, aren't they, at the front of the shop? You know, the enticers, aren't they? Yeah. So what I was saying, along with those lions, we've had a few cooked breakfasts to keep us warm and keep us well fed. Because of course, if you're well fed, your body's warmer.
It's been a nice week off.
It has, yeah. And of course, I've had him to help me with some of the jobs around the house, which has been really nice. But yesterday just didn't stop. Because of illnesses and that. Normally when I go shopping on a Tuesday or a Friday, I tend to need a snooze in the afternoon if my body allows me to. So generally I have 10 minutes to half an hour snooze in the afternoon. And although my body was telling me to, there was too much to do yesterday, wasn't there? So we had a tabletop tabletop sale to attend in the afternoon. And then we got a phone call from one of the sons. He was struggling breathing. And he was really bunged up. So we had
to pay nurse.
We had to play nurse. We had to do an emergency visit. We didn't really want to spend the diesel because we planned not to. But of course, when your children need you, and you just go. So we took medicines, blankets, food, hot water bottles, just everything we could think of in a panic, wasn't it? And went up and mothered him. And unfortunately, he still lost a day from work today because he just wasn't well enough to go. So he's still taking the medication and he's sleeping it off, really, isn't he, more than anything.
We only started putting the decorations up about 10 o'clock, wasn't it?
Yeah, about 10 o'clock at night.
Finished about 2 in the morning.
But we had fun doing it, didn't we? You know, we planned a couple of days ago to do. Well, Mr. Wallflowers has been badgering me for a couple of days now. They always say it's us women that nag, but I think the men love the Christmas decorations just as much. How many days ago did you suggest to me to put them on? Monday. And I looked at him and I went, "You want to put the decorations up?" Because when we were younger, the tradition was 12 days before and 12 days afterwards, and we always did that with the boys, didn't we? 12 days before was for putting up Christmas decorations, and he wanted them up. So yesterday we managed to get round to it, but yeah, we were up till 2 o'clock in the morning.
And then we had to put the video on. I didn't get to bed till after 3.
Yeah. And then again, it was another 10 o'clock lion this morning, wasn't it? So he's going to be thrown out for his work routine because he's normally up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 6 days a week. So early to bed, isn't it? Sunday night. Yeah.
Well, that's good that the sound's good.
Oh, thank you, show fans. I didn't think to ask that. So sight and sound is good. Really good. £1 now. Exactly. I
think even the Americans are saying their dollar ones have gone up now. They're like $1.25.
See, the cheap shops aren't exactly the cheap shops anymore. We used to say the likes of B&M's, Poundland, and you'd go in there looking for something, even Wilkinson's, we call Wilco's. Before you went in there, you tend to look in B&M's or Poundland first, and all of them are no longer the cheap shops, are they? You may as well just go into any shop and do a price comparison. I read a post, I think it was Facebook, last week. Somebody had bought butter in B&M's. No, they looked to buy butter, sorry. And when they went across the road to Aldi or somewhere else, it was over £1 cheaper. Just for a block of butter. It just shows you how they catch it out, Oh, thank you, show fans. Yeah, we just tried to put as many of the bauble decorations on as we could, and we didn't want to choke it out with tinsel this year. So I think it's the first year we've never put tinsel on the tree, isn't it? Yeah. We're enjoying it. We put the light off earlier and sat and just had the ambient light. And there's a couple of the decorations we put batteries in. Yeah. And they're kind of like what do you call those lamps?
Oil lamps, lava
like
lamps.
Lava lamps. And the colours come through really nicely. Evening, Anne. We've had a kerfuffle getting everyone here, but I'm glad you're all here. Nothing goes easily for us, never. I'm putting my tree up tomorrow. I'm late this year, but yours looks lovely. Oh, thank you. We're enjoying it. We've seen some beautiful ones. You know, some videos have gone up today. We've seen some absolutely fabulous ones. I'm glad to say as well, we were looking in the YouTube studio and we think we've actually caught up all the hours that we needed. They told us at one point we were 800 hours short of what we needed if we hit the 1,000 sub mark to go to monetized. So we've hit all the hours. We're so grateful for everyone watching all the videos. And you guys here right now are the core people that are watching the videos, and I'm so pleased. I'm so thankful that you've watched them. So we've actually caught up. So we've actually done the 4,000 hours that they require. We just need 70 more subs, is it? Yeah, 71. We have one popping in and popping out, don't we? we got up to 9:30 and then one dropped off again, so we went to 1:29. I'm sure it'll happen, you know, but if anyone's listening and you haven't subbed, whether it's now live or later on, every sub we can get, we need. It is fabulous, Shy Finds, don't get me wrong. Not so long ago, we were on for possibly 500, and in a matter of a month, we're up to 929, and it's absolutely fabulous. Now, constantly we give thanks to Karen from Prime and Midlife because she gave us quite a bit of exposure on her channel, and we've built up a friendship. And of course, we've been doing the live streams. And Karen and I will be doing a live stream next Saturday on the 17th. And I'm hoping it's on Prime of Midlife channel. But yeah, she's given us an awful lot of exposure, and she mentions us quite a lot. And she's a fabulous lady, you know, got a really good friendship going now. And we hope to still work together and do collaborations long into the future. There's a few, we're doing a Christmas video, and we're actually having other channels join us. I don't want to spoil the fun, but there's lots of faces that we all watch and we all enjoy. You know, even as channels, we all watch each other and we all enjoy the content that they provide.
It's a community Christmas message.
We've done a collaboration of a community Christmas message video, and there's some big names amongst them, and some small channels just like ours, you know, and it'll be great. We've already started receiving a few videos in, and we're hoping to upload it anywhere between the 17th and the 20th of December. So that's something else to look forward to. So there's the next live with Prime of Midlife on the 17th, and then the Christmas video will follow. So lots of good stuff in the making. Yeah, lots of fabulous stuff. She is, and she's a wonderful lady. Yeah, full of smiles today and motivation, you know, and I look forward to her videos every day. Yeah, she's wonderful.
Been prepping Brussels sprouts already? It's got 2 weeks yet.
Who's doing that?
Imminent.
Hi, Imminent 135. Have to finish prepping Brussels sprouts. That will have a balsamic reduction. Oh, sounds lovely. Your last vid of thanks was terrific. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. I've literally just put the Brussels sprouts in the freezer so far, and I have 2 of the small packs I've managed to pick up, and they will be the Brussels sprouts for Christmas Day. And
You'll
I'm
probably get more before then.
Yeah, but they'll be New Year's Day then, because we do a feast on Christmas Day and a feast on New Year's Day, don't we? So the next lot I get on, either Tuesday or Friday or both, will be for the New Year's Day meal. Scottish Urban Prepper is also he looking for collabs. Oh, right. I've not come across that. I've watched a few of his videos, and he covers a lot of ground, and some of them are really, really good. I wasn't aware of that, Annie.
I don't think he's mentioned us. I don't think he's aware of us.
I don't think he's aware of us. I don't know. He's not someone we've had personal contact with as yet. Well, we don't know what the future holds, do we?
Sadie leaves our videos running when she's prepping.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Sadie. That's probably you has helped us catch up all those hours we needed. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. Oh, his name's David. Okay, that's great.
I don't know you're here.
Oh, thank you, Annie. That's wonderful. Yeah, I have commented on his channel and tried to interact, as all of us do, you know, just as a sub on someone else's channel, but you know, we don't always know who each other are and who's got a channel. We just think we're just chatting to individuals.
We're just trying to build a community so we all know each other.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's amazing how the UK community has just lifted since lockdown. I'd say really more and more of the UK lockdown. People. Yeah,
it was all American channels at first. It was all prepping America.
It was, yeah. Homestead Tessie was someone that I followed for many years. And learned a lot from her, and another lady called Whippoorwill Holler, and I learned an awful lot from the Americans, and I suppose everyone else who started prepping, started canning, dehydrating. We literally at first only had the American resources to look at, you know, but since after lockdown, and so many of us have popped up, it's a vast community, isn't it?
I think everyone realises what a struggle we're in. Yeah. And that the money isn't lasting now.
But I think we should celebrate what we've got here at home. You know, we're not dependent. We'll always love watching those channels that we kind of, I'd say, grow with, but I mean, learn from and come to the standard that we all are today. We'll always love them. But to celebrate the UK community that we've got, you know, it's fabulous. You know, there's so many names. One channel in particular that I'm really loving at the moment is called Living Life on Less. Lizzie and Dave, and they're doing amazing videos at the moment. I love their accents. I love everything that they're putting into the videos. Absolutely thrills me. There's just so many. Janet's with us here tonight, and her channel is Homestead from a Broken Brain. Absolutely wonderful channel again. You know, there's just so many. Hi, Lizzie and Dave. Thank you. We just finished watching your stream. It was wonderful. Cooey. Yeah, we're just saying celebrate the UK channels that we've got. You know, some of the channels that we've got are absolutely amazing, and everyone presents in their own style, you know, and not everyone's covering all the same stuff. You know, we've got Tess Frugal covering finances and different things. You know, we've got Frugal Lizzie B. Who's the new lady I've been following? Something Rebellion. Fabulous lady, how she's presenting her videos. She's only got 75 followers. Absolutely wonderful channel she's got. You know, there's just so many, absolutely so many. Funky Prepper, absolutely amazing, you know, and he's got a massive channel, hasn't he? You know, it absolutely booming, and he's completely off grid, you know, and yeah, such a community.
Hello from Southport. We're only in Skelmersdale, just down the road.
Who's in Southport?
Jan W.
Oh, that's not too far away at all, Jan. Yeah. And we often go to Southport. As I say, we had a day planned this week and didn't quite make it. Bottom stuck to the sofa, I think.
Too cold.
Yeah, Lizzie and Dave, the UK community has just exploded, hasn't it? You know, and we're all here and saying, yes, we're here, we know what we're doing. And well, we like to know what we're doing. We're learning on our feet and we're trying to do the old traditions and keep it all going again. But yet the community is growing by the day. It's fabulous. Frugal Joe. I'm not familiar with Frugal Joe. I'm sorry, Imminent 135. I'll have to look for Frugal Joe. Is it a man or a woman? I'm presuming Jo is a woman. Yeah, some wonderful channels. A friend of mine, the Indigo Traveller, she's completely off-grid, lives in a caravan in Scotland, survives the winters, has a Chinese heating system within the caravan itself, works just a part-time job and is able to sustain living independently, totally off-grid. She's been doing that for a number of years now, Kelly. Wonderful lady. You know, there's just so many different variations and covering so much ground between us all. It's beautiful to see. Really is beautiful to see. So let's ask, who's got the Christmas decorations up so far? Who's gone before the 12 days before? Anyone like us and gone early? Or is anyone choosing to completely abstain this year and not put them up at all? If I had my way, I really wouldn't have any decorations up this year. Mr. Wallflowers is shaking his head because he wants them. But I suggested when the boys left home, did we really want to keep doing it, you know?
We don't go overboard like we used to on the ceiling.
Yeah, we used to have danglies from the ceiling. We used to have them.
Tinsel,
yeah, we didn't just used to have them in the lounge. We used to have them, you know, sometimes the boys would want them in the bedroom as well. And we would have the outside lights, you know, whether it be the big, I'm going to call them clown colours, but they're not clown colours, but you know what I mean, yellow, blue, red. And we used to have the big bulbs on the fence outside and things like that.
Oh, we had the inflatable Santa as well.
We had an inflatable Santa on the roof, must have been about 8 foot tall. Again, something Mum won in a raffle, didn't she? Mum phoned and she said, can Brian pick me up? Can Mr. Wallflowers pick me up in the car? We used to have a car then before the van. I'm outside. I mean, Mum used to go to a pub quite local to hers, and she'd won it in the raffle. And she said, I've won a Christmas ornament. Can you pick me up in the car? And it's for the boys. And when we brought her home and opened the box, and it was an 8-foot inflatable Santa, we got the shock of our lives. It took forever to stabilise it on the shed roof, didn't it? Yeah. How many years did we have that? We had that quite a few years, didn't we? And then the weather defeated it, didn't it?
The wind took it.
Let's see who's got theirs up. Annie's got hers up. Imminent, I'm on it. Jo is a woman. Oh, right, okay, we will. We'll have to look into that. We love 70s tinsel and ceiling danglies. Yeah, very kitsch. But you like what you like, and that's it. So Jan W, no decks here. Can I ask why, Jan? Oh, she's just got the fairy lights. Is it financial reasons, political reasons, non-religious reasons?
Yeah, we used to do that in school, make the paper chains out of the coloured paper.
Yeah.
Link them all.
Stick them in. Sometimes there was that special paper that would have the sticky tabs on.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time, you'd either have to staple it with the stapler or roll the sellotape. Roll the sellotape 2 sides so it'd stick together, and then it'd stick to everything else. They were good, them, yeah. I want to pickle onions, but I can't find any, Sadie. Yeah, I haven't pickled onions for a couple of years.
We pickled beetroot, didn't we?
We pickle beetroot quite regularly, though. We do that all year round because it's something we like to eat quite regularly.
But we put the onions in the beetroot as well, don't we?
Yeah. Sometimes we buy these silver skin onions. We chop them and dice them. And we actually use the vinegar that comes with the silver. Occasionally, sometimes we make our own, but occasionally we use the vinegar that comes with the silver skin onions. We'll either boil the beetroot from raw, or we'll even, if we get the free packets or highly reduced packets of just normal cooked beetroot, we'll slice that or chop that up, put it all together in the vinegar that's come off the silver skin onions, and get a full jar of the onions and the beetroot together, all in the one lot of vinegar that's come. So that's pretty frugal and goes quite a long way. I tip it all into
the beetroot's lovely.
The coffee jars, the old Dawag coffee jars, and it takes twice the capacity then of the original pickled onion jar. They last us quite a long time, don't they, with the top on in the fridge?
Yeah, 70s decorations were the best.
Yeah.
Used to love making them paper lanterns.
Yeah, and you'd sit there for
do a little handle on them. Used to make them with the kids.
Yeah. We've just been going through some photographs, Christmas photographs of the boys over the years. I'm hoping you can see them. I think I showed that one in the video. That's when they started to be happy. But there's a few where you see the crying faces. You know, you've spent a fortune on taking them to see Santa Claus, and all they do is whinge, and they wouldn't go near the man. The amount of tat that piles up from the overabundance of Christmas gifts coming from families when you've already over-treated them. You know, they were the years when money was no object, but a lot of those toys didn't last very long, and the bin was full of packaging. And the young presents, you know, they outgrow them pretty quickly. It's not something you keep long term. There's quite a few things we put in the loft and kept as memories, you know, and we still bring things out. This is one of Mr. Wallflowers in the early years dressing as Santa Claus. And of course, the presents were hidden in the van, so we had to nip out.
That's when we were delivering Christmas trees.
Oh, was it? Yeah, there's a Christmas tree there. So when we delivered the Christmas tree, he'd be wearing the suit. But there was a good story we talked about with the boys the other night when you wore the suit.
The Santa. Went up about 2:00 in the morning with my Santa suit on, up to me eldest. We only had one then, didn't we? And he woke up, didn't he? And said, "Dad, what are you doing with Santa's suit on?" I'm just helping him. He's downstairs.
We used to leave one present on the bed, you know, just a small thing with some sweets or something attached to it. And they'd have that, and then they'd come down the stairs and get the rest of the presents. Big busted.
He's just having a mince pie downstairs.
Oh, Anne puts hers up on the 23rd. No,
and then take them down on the 26th.
Yeah, that's okay. As I say, I wouldn't necessarily do it, you know. My stuff. Busted. We just try to keep the novelty and the hope and spirit alive.
That's one of me when I was about 7 or 8.
Stood in front of the Christmas tree with his new football kit on.
I got a football kit and a rifle, toy gun.
How times changed, eh?
Yeah.
There's Mr. Wallflowers with a toy rifle as a Christmas gift.
It's nearly 50 years ago, 48 years ago.
And of course, when a lot of us, I think a lot of us are of the
He
same
went knobbly
mindset.
knees.
I think a lot of us are the same mindset. We stopped our children from having a lot of the sugar that we were allowed to have.
That carpet.
We monitored it, you know. But another thing that I wouldn't allow was anyone to gift because having two sons, I wouldn't allow anyone to gift my sons imitation guns, plastic toy guns. And there was a neighbour who was a friend of ours, and she bought my son a plastic rifle one year. And I had to say, he's not allowed to have it. And he'd opened it. You know, she'd given the gift and he'd opened it and had to say he wasn't allowed to have it. Well, of course, I wasn't a very good mum that year, you know. He wasn't pleased with me and everything. So I soon manipulated the situation and got him distracted and gave him something else. And the lady in question understood after a while that I'll raise my children the way that I see is appropriate. And all gifts were welcome except for weapons, knives and guns. And it was something that I just would not have my children play with as a toy. And see no meaning or anything behind it, just see it as a toy and don't understand. They were always told weapons are dangerous. Thanks, Annie. So you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, I just wouldn't have it, you know.
It was different back then.
When we were younger, anything went, you know. We had the dangerous go-karts. We had, you know, everything and anything. We had knives. We had, you know, we were playing with real knives in the street, cutting the moss out of the flagstones, weren't we? You know, we had the imitation guns. We had absolutely everything. You know, we were going down the slide on our bike, and our parents were encouraging us. It was bizarre how dangerous our childhood was, you know, but it doesn't mean we'd stand there and allow it for our children, but we wouldn't have to do it overprotected, or were they, or was that just normal? We'll never know, will we? Thank you, Emily. Yeah, exactly. That's how we felt.
Yeah, cap guns were good. Used to buy the roller caps. That's it. Never thought about harming each other. We just had them.
There's Mr. Wallflowers in his teenage years opening his gifts.
It was one of the early electronic games.
Your family was wealthy compared to my family, though, wasn't it? You know, yeah, you had.
But my mum and dad worked.
What console was that?
It was only like a cheap one, wasn't it?
Yeah, but what would it have been?
It was like a Space Invaders, I think.
Yeah.
When I had hair. You had real candles on your Christmas tree.
What kind of traditions, Jan? What kind of things are you talking about? Wow, Jane had real candles on the Christmas tree. I don't remember anything like that. Yeah,
we're saying guns were dangerous.
Oh, Shire Fans wants to see a wedding picture. We got, we were really lucky. We were both really lucky, but Mr. Wallflowers planned an American wedding for us. We got married in a place called Cypress Gardens in America. It was absolutely beautiful. Just go up a little bit. You know, I wouldn't see that as such a bad thing, Jane. I think you would have learned so much from your granny. We call them Nan here.
A lot of grandkids are
choice,
brought
you
up by the
know.
grandparents. So
Yeah,
still.
I think more and more now so as well, you know. We'd lost that extended family to an extent, but quite a few people are just brought up by grandmother alone, not the extended family. Yeah. Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Oh, full respect to you, Annie, yeah. You worked hard for that, yeah. Fabulous. Your daughter must be so proud of you.
Granddaughter.
Or your granddaughter, yeah. Absolutely fabulous.
And that was 1999, the wedding.
It was Florida, yeah. A hurricane day in Florida. Yeah. Beautiful wedding, yeah. And we got back once since then. I think Oscar was about 7, was he?
No, Oscar was 4.
The second time, yeah. Well, he wasn't there the first time, was he? So 15 years ago, we went back for the second time, and never made it again. Mr. Wallflowers actually wanted to move out there and live there. How pleased we are that we never. But I put my foot down, and I wasn't leaving. I couldn't leave my mum. You know, I really. And I said to him at the time, being the pessimist, you'll go and die on me and leave me out there with guns and gangsters, you know. I know there's many here on our own doorsteps, you know, and the grass is never greener. But I just did not want to live in America. It just did not appeal to me at all. I know, you know, at the time we were both fit and healthy and we would have worked to provide for ourselves just as much as anywhere else. But I just flatly said no, it just wasn't for me. Looking back now, are you glad we're here now?
Yeah, probably.
You know, going through all this crisis.
I didn't like that space dust.
It hurt, didn't it?
Yeah.
Used to hurt the cleft, you know. I think when we first got it, it wasn't as aggressive, was it? It was like snap, crackle and pop, and it was more friendly.
Yeah.
After a while, it was a real big
used to
bust.
make me sick. Sickly.
And it was one of the dearest sweets as well, if I remember, wasn't it? It was like 25, 30 pence for the little sachet of it, wasn't it? If I remember.
Liz lived with her grandmother.
Lived with mine now for many years. She was frugal and prudent, an absolute gift.
That's probably where you learned it all.
Yeah, passed it all on. They knew how to make it stretch because they knew what it was like to go without, and they weren't going back to that. So you made everything, you recycled everything, you reused everything till you couldn't reuse it again. Yeah, best people to live to learn from.
I mean, as bad as the 70s were, I don't think they were as bad as what they are now. I think it's worse now than what it was in the 70s.
We can't compare the prices because, you know, prices will always sound cheaper in the past.
Yeah.
But in relation to what your income was...
Your money went further.
I know, but it was an awful lot to them. I can't put myself in the position that my parents were in. My dad worked hard for years and years. He was a factory worker and he worked in a company called Thorne's Colour Tubes. In the 70s, a big major company came to our town, Skelmersdale, and it was the big explosion.
It was only a new town. The new town had only just been built then.
Yeah.
Early 70s.
And it was a big boom in colour TVs, and these colour tubes were the ones that made the colour TV, and it was a big exciting, you know, venture. And there was, you know, so many jobs for the people in Skelmersdale. And my dad worked there for a number of years, and then suddenly the company went bust. I can't remember.
It was only open about 5 years.
I can't remember if it's a Chinese or a Japanese company had started to make a newer version of this colour tube. Cheaper version, yeah, really discounted prices to get the business and to, you know, eradicate the companies like Thorne's that were doing it. My dad lost his job, and by that point he was classed as the older older employee, shall we say, and he found it more and more difficult to find work. So in my household, we were a really poor household. Mum occasionally had part-time cleaning jobs, and they were quite spasmodic and not for real long periods. You know, she'd have a short-time cleaning job as an extra in different places. A lot of the time it'd be the boom before an event or just before Christmas, etc. And Dad started to get a bit of depression because he found it so difficult to get a job, and the finances were really low. I got a school grant for the uniform and had to wear a specific uniform that only school grant children got. I had to queue up for free lunches. Still got a wonderful lunch. I loved school lunches. They were lovely. But yeah, we were, you know, compared to how Brian got consoles and his dad had fancy cars all the time. And
both my parents worked, so it was different.
You went on holidays as families together.
Yeah, not abroad. Holidays were over here.
Yeah, they were
North Wales.
But you still had them quite frequently. And your dad would record on a big cine camera, and you've got all those memories logged, haven't you, and recorded. And Brian tells me often, Mr. Wallflower tells me often about, was it a kayak? What was your boat?
Oh, we had a dinghy. A dinghy with an outboard engine motor. We used to go on the canals, we used to go lakes, and we'd always be having days out. Wouldn't be abroad, but we'd have weekends away all the time, days out. We had a caravan as well. My dad bought a caravan. We used to tow that round, going to Wales and London. So I suppose we were well off.
You were, you know, you had, you know, your parents were full of adventure. You know, they'd be creative and take you out for adventures and things like that, where a lot of the time, I loved my parents, don't get me wrong, and I still loved them. I had a fabulous childhood, and ours was in telling stories, being creative at home, making different things, and making it stretch. But it wasn't in being creative outside of the home. It wasn't in adventures. You know, ours would be me and my dad making go-karts. Me and my dad playing cricket, me and my dad playing football, going running and on adventures as a group, taking the kids in the street for walks and making dens and all that type of thing, you know. Yeah, it was two completely different childhoods, weren't they? But they were both great. Yeah. The
price of turkey is £69.
Wow. I'm wondering how many turkeys are actually going to be available this year, you know, with this so-called bird flu, and the culling of the birds and, you know, everything that's been going on. I'm just wondering what's available.
As we said in an earlier stream, last year at the Food Initiative, we had over 200 turkeys given to us from Marks and Spencer's.
Not to us, to the food bank.
To the food bank. And they just put a post out and anyone could come and collect them the week before Christmas and the week after, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And they were humongous, you know. You had to make sure they fit in the oven. Yeah. I mean, it'd be fabulous if that happened again, but I'm hoping...
I think it will. I think if not turkeys, I think it'll be chickens, and they just buy too much, don't they? People can't afford it, especially this year.
Well, on the prepping side, as I say, I did that video a while ago saying preppers ain't weird anymore. And I'm wondering how much the shops are going to suffer this year on the high-priced confectionery, high-priced quality Christmas goods aimed at us all just to buy over the Christmas period. I mean, yeah, we're all going out buying extra. I get that and understand that. But we're looking for... the best of the cheapest that we can get, you know. And I think a lot of people are doing that to buy in bulk. So we're not buying the top fancy wrapped brand named quality stuff. And that goes for smaller shops like Aldi, smaller shops like Tesco. We're not going for their fancy range. We're going for the affordable, good range that we can
The
get.
smart price range.
Yeah, but or even better than that, you know, the one step up or one step down, whichever way you want to look at it. But we're not going for the top shelf of quality. We're not going for the top shelf of commerciality of how
People just haven't
they've
got the
dressed
money.
it to us, you know. So I'm hoping a lot of that goes to food banks or initiatives rather than go to waste. You know, it's a horrible thought that they just put those in a dustbin rather than give them away, you know.
They get tax relief with the waste that they provide to the food banks now, so it's in their interest.
So it's beneficial. They're going to gain financially from it. Well,
or not lose as much.
Yeah, or just do reductions within their own shops. I know a lot do that. Yeah. Yeah, we're doing the same with the chicken, but I'm not actually doing a full chicken this year. I've been collecting the chicken breasts. So Mr. Wallflowers won't have any chicken or tough meats of any sort. You might have some of the gammon, mightn't you?
It might have a little bit of gammon or spam.
You'd probably have spam, or if I can get him a Cumberland sausage, you'd enjoy that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But the three of us, the two boys and myself, we'll have chicken breasts and plenty of gammon. Yeah.
They're already looking forward to it.
Yeah. They like a big feast and they'll eat all the vegetables, so they're quite happy. Yeah, the more the merrier.
I'd rather just have a plate of veg with gravy. That'll do me.
You mean a plate of gravy with some veg?
Yeah. And some bread.
Yeah. And bread. There's always got to be a plate of bread and butter, hasn't there? Yeah. And yes, the ketchups will be on the table as well.
Cheers, Dave. You can't.
What's Dave saying?
You can't beat spam.
No, you can't. Yeah, we all like a bit of spam. We were quite fortunate. There was a shop local to us called Bargain Brands. And how many months ago would you say?
What, had it opened?
The spam.
About 12 months ago.
About 12 months ago, there was a sale on, it wasn't actually called spam, but it was spam.
It was a Polish spam.
It was a Polish spam. And you could get...
It was 12 tins for £6. I don't know.
12 tins of it for £6. So we got 3 lots and we got 36 tins. And we've been working our way through it, but we must still have about 15 to 20 left, mustn't we? Yeah. So yeah, we've got a nice stash of spam. If we haven't got bacon or something like that and we want a mixed grill or a fry up, then we'll just slice the spam and fry that off, and it's just as good. It's lovely, isn't it? Yeah.
That sounds nice. Chestnut, sage and onion roll.
As a roll? Oh, like sausage roll? Oh, that sounds lovely. Yeah. I like chestnut stuffing. It's beautiful.
We got a lovely stuffing last year, didn't we? It was Marks and Spencer's again, from the food initiative. We got it given to us. It was a big, massive round, like a big cake, wasn't it, of stuffing. That had chestnuts and all kinds.
Had cranberries in it.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Absolutely all kinds in it.
I think it was about £8 on the packet.
Did you hear Oscar ask if we're going to have fancy stuffing?
Yeah. So we haven't.
Speaking to him, he said, we having fancy stuffing for Christmas again. It's the things like that make a difference when you know that they're still thinking about it a year later. Yeah, fabulous. Yeah, chorizo was beautiful, but some of the Polish foods are absolutely fabulous, as you say.
But
stuffed
even the Polish
cabbages,
foods,
it's through the roof if you buy it in the Polish shop. Yeah. Stuffed cabbage, absolutely loads of the Polish foods are absolutely beautiful.
Pierogi.
I made pierogi, didn't I? Absolutely beautiful. We made cheese and onion pierogi. It's basically a dumpling cum pasty. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. We made a few. We followed a Polish recipe, didn't we? And made donuts in the oven. That was lovely, wasn't it? We had a Polish day of food. We used to have a fruit and veg shop. in the next door shop was a Polish shop, and the two ladies, they were wonderful, and we struck up a great friendship. They kept trying to ply us with Polish, it was a vodka cum whiskey, and kept trying to ply us with alcohol. And I don't drink, so 2 sniffs and I was gone, you know. And we were buying things from the shop, and I thought, right, well, I'll make some at home and see how far we get and what it's like. And we made pierogi, didn't we? And then we made the Polish donuts afterwards. We only did it the once, didn't we? But yeah, it was lovely. Yeah.
Whereabouts are you in a minute? If you have a barbecue, couldn't have a barbecue here with this weather.
Oh, I can't do chili.
No.
Repeats on me and burns me like crazy. Yeah, Shivan stuffed cabbage is beautiful.
All cabbage, love cabbage.
Yeah. I'm making that kale meal tomorrow, the Tuscan bean. I'm doing that tomorrow. That'll be really nice. I'm going to record it, the Tuscan bean and barley recipe that I got from the Food Initiative this week, but I'm going to put other bits in as well that I'm making along the way. So
be up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Cabbage and sprouts. Sprouts are just the best.
I never liked sprouts when I was younger. Mr. Wallflowers used to ask for all the greens all the time and lots of sprouts. So what I started to do was to cook the sprouts in orange juice, and therefore the boys liked them when they were younger and I liked them. And gradually we didn't have to put the orange juice in. I really enjoy sprouts now, just as sprouts, and the boys absolutely love them, don't they? Yeah.
I'll go out and make a butty and just do a sprout butty while I'm eating my dinner.
Out bowl. What's that one? Beth saying she likes stuffed grape leaves. See, we don't see that kind of thing available to buy, grape leaves. I suppose I do have 2 grape vines in the garden. I'm hoping they survive the winter. But I suppose I could try from there. But I have seen people do grape leaf recipes before. Do you actually buy them in the shop, Beth, or do you grow your own from the plants? And would you say it's quite similar to the cabbage taste?
What's Calvaro Negro?
Oh, Cavallero. That's like a kale, like a cabbagey kale.
Yeah.
Where's that?
How do you cook?
Cavallero. So basically, you just do it like you do kale. So you broil it. You can basically saute it, or bring it to the boil and just have like boiled cabbage. Or you can dehydrate your Cavallero and make chips with it. You know, there's lots of ways you can do it, but it's basically cabbage. Yeah. It's just a much darker version. It's like a blackened version of it, purpley black.
Bubble and squeak with the leftovers.
Cavallero.
I used to love doing that. It always tastes better the next day.
Yeah, bubble and squeak. Yeah. It's like a pan of scouse or a pan of stew. It thickens, doesn't it? And it's always better the next day. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good recipe for it. The Cavallero, parboil it and then fry in bacon fat. Yeah, well, you can do that with the Cavallero or the sprouts. That's right, Dave. Bubble and squeak.
We've got some sprouts growing in the garden, but we haven't been out to check them.
Well, they won't be ready till early spring, will they? We pick the grape leaves when they're young. Yes, but I'll have to try and remember that and have a go. Yeah. I'm glad to hear so many are growing. I've had an allotment in the garden for about 3 years now. We're getting better and better each year. More and more successful, bringing more and more in. And we're still eating potatoes from, was it last month?
No, it was a couple of months ago.
Yeah, we're still eating from the last harvest of potatoes that we brought in.
Feeling hungry now.
Beth, bubble and squeak is
just your leftover veg, cabbage, cauliflower, anything really.
Yeah.
Just fry it.
You
Or
drain any,
put breadcrumbs on it and
yeah, nice splash of any ketchup or anything on it, a couple of slices of buttered bread. Beautiful. I think we're all feeling hungry now, yeah. But we call reheating leftovers the next day in the frying pan, we call that bubble and squeak. It's lovely. You could eat that for breakfast, you could eat it for lunch, you could eat it for any meal. Yeah, really filling. Yeah. Best with potatoes and veg fried up with an egg on. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, we've covered our beds with hay as well. We've got a few bales of hay there. We need to do a few more beds before the winter, don't we?
Well, it's all iced up now. I think we've missed the boat, but we can still go out and cover them up. We got 4 bales of hay on the free sites on the marketplace. People had bought for party seating in spring and summer. And once they finish using them, they put them on the free site. And every year I grab it, Last year it was 2, this year it's 4. So we've got enough to cover all the beds, even if it's only a thin smattering. And the ones we want to protect more, obviously put a little bit on. But when I take it off, come spring, I'll store it, then I'll reuse it again, and gradually it'll just break down like your compost would or whatever, So you never throw anything away, you just keep using it till it disappears. I couldn't do that. My mum used to eat dripping on the bread.
Oh, yeah, dripping butties.
I just couldn't do it. I mean, we used to eat sugar butties, sauce butties. If we didn't have jam, you'd look for the next thing in the cupboard, wouldn't you? And just grab what you could. And I couldn't eat a sugar butty now or anything like that.
Everybody
Dripping was, yeah, I just couldn't do it. Not me. Yeah, a lot of them did. It was those old flavours.
Yeah, loads of salt. Salad cream butties. Yeah. Still eat them. No?
Salad cream butties. No, you don't. You would.
Oh, I've had a salad cream butty.
When?
Probably a few months ago.
I know we have it on our salads, and then you'd have it on a barn cake or on a sandwich, whatever. You're sneaking food in the kitchen when I'm not looking. Aren't I feeding you enough? Raw onion and salad cream, yeah, beautiful, yeah.
We've only just got snow yesterday, the first bit of snow, wasn't it? It's gone freezing now. It was freezing last night.
It was lovely to see when we opened the curtains this morning.
Yeah.
All the white glisten on all the houses.
And the roofs.
But we've had the heating on all day today, haven't we? Because it was that cold. I've got three sets of socks on, some Santa socks on today. But I've got 3 sets of socks on. I've got my long johns on under my pajama bottoms. And I'm really wrapped up, and that's with the heating on. Yeah. It's difficult to feel it, and we've got it on normal temperature and everything, haven't we? But it is nice to see the snow. I just don't want the slippy ice that goes with it. Oh, the times when I saw my mum slip on the ice walking up to the shop, or the times we fell and have that big red patch up your thigh because you'd gone skidding on it and fell over. Yeah.
They've had 3 foot yesterday and 3 foot more by Monday. Get snow up to the roof.
Our country had come to a standstill, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember any, other than when I was younger, any depth of snow. How long ago was it when we had a real depth of snow?
Yeah, that was
6, 7 years ago, something like that. We had a depth of snow. I couldn't tell you how deep though. 2 feet.
Yeah,
that was a lot for us.
3 foot at the most.
Yeah, that was one of our worst winters, wasn't it, for a long while? Yeah, 3 foot of snow. It was all piled up in the rain, wasn't it?
Yeah,
when
we were out
snow shifters came. Yeah, all the neighbours. The road was caked in it. All the paths were caked in it, and a lot of the neighbours had come out and made snowmen in their own front lawns. And then the kids, young teenage boys started tossing a few across the road. And then a couple of their older brothers or sisters would join in, and the youngsters were there. Next minute, the dads were there. Next minute, the mums were there. Everyone was out having a snowball fight. Yeah, it was great. The one time everyone wants to communicate because they can lash each other with a snowball.
I haven't seen them since.
The ones at the top or at the bottom we hardly see, do we? But the ones across the road we see all the time. Yeah, me too.
Everyone's getting hungry now.
So what treats are you putting out? What prep-wise, or frugal-wise, what frugal treats have people gone for? Besides the dinner, if you put nibbles out, we normally... A few years ago, it would have been the extravagance of the Quality Street or the Roses. It'd either be the tin at the side, or you'd buy gold wrap sweets and they'd be placed in a paper bowl or whatever, and you'd have peanuts and different things as a side to, for people to just help themselves during the day. What kind of treats are people leaving out as a luxury, and how are you doing that frugally?
I mean, our lads can't wait to eat the marshmallows. They had the marshmallows the other day. We took a little tub up to them.
I dehydrated them so they weren't really firm. I'd done a video on it a while ago, and we'd vacuum sealed them in jars. The boys absolutely loved them. So I've bought 2 big bags of the marshmallows, and I'm going to dehydrate the whole 2 bags. And I'm going to put some of them out. I've already set aside some toffees I'd found at the Food Initiative in the gold wrappers. So they'll be put in, and I'm going to look for something else.
The toffee is easy to make, isn't it? With the evaporated milk.
As long as you don't burn it.
Caramel and toffee.
Yeah. But then it's getting it in a sufficient size, because by the time you've whacked it, it's gone in one big triangle, and then it shatters everywhere. So, if you're strategically putting something out, it's nice for homemade, but a lot of us will look for something frugal, I'd say you can't get much more frugal than making it yourself, but then you've still got to buy the condensed milk, you've still got to buy the sugar, you've still got to use the gas to do it. So how frugal is that compared to getting a cheap packet of sweets? It's the balance of how we're going to do it. So Jane says she's got a few packets of crisps and bits from the community pantry a few weeks ago, and she had some fancy biscuits, but I ate them all. Yeah, we've done that. That just reminded me, when I was a little girl, Mum and Dad had a few people staying over for joining us for Christmas Day the next day. One of them was an adult disabled guy. We used to say learning difficulties. And he'd woken me up really early. And he said, what you're meant to do is you're meant to look for your selection boxes, and you're meant to find them really early. So me being a child, believed everything he said, and I'm hunting around the house looking for these selection boxes, and I found them on the wardrobe. And I opened 4. And they weren't all for me. One of them was for me. And I opened 4. And by the time Mum and Dad had got up, I was covered in chocolate. He was covered in chocolate. And the wrappers were everywhere. And there was absolute murder. And of course, this guy had learning difficulties, was disabled, and there was no punishment for him. But even on Christmas Day, there was punishment for me. So I know all about, quite regularly, we've opened a packet of biscuits and said, we'll have to replace them tomorrow. And by the time you've took one, you might as well say the packet's gone, because you know you're going to finish it. My neighbour gives me cherries from his tree. I soak them in brandy all year, then dip them in chocolate that people have given me for gifts. So I get my cherry liqueur chocks for cheap. Oh, that sounds lovely. When I used to drink brandy was my tipple, and cherry brandy, beautiful, yeah.
Until you fell
Yeah,
over.
the marshmallows and the cocoa are great. Well,
Until you fell over and fell in the Christmas tree.
that was quite a few years ago.
Stop drinking it.
It is, yeah. How many years ago would you say?
Probably about 8.
At least 8, yeah. I'd had one too many brandies and a few Prosecco's in the morning. My son had a gaggle of friends in.
It wasn't in the morning.
No, I'd started Prosecco in the morning when we were cooking the dinner, the breakfast, and doing some of the dinner. And then by the time afternoon comes, I had quite a few brandies. When all his friends were here, I fell into the Christmas tree and got put. Oh, it was Christmas Eve.
Yeah, Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Christmas Eve, and I was put to bed before midnight. No, it must be New Year's Eve.
Was it?
Because I was put to bed before the chimes.
Oh, yeah.
So it was New Year's Eve,
yeah.
yeah. I'd been put to bed before the chimes because I fell into the tree. I don't drink anymore.
Yeah, homemade scones are nice.
Sour cream, homemade scones, yeah. We had another boo-boo on one of the videos. I'd tried to make butter with the single cream, and I found out I couldn't do it. So the very next day, one of our food initiatives was giving away soured cream, and it come in a 10k tub. So we went up there, and they gave us 2 tubs of soured cream. So we come home, had it in the KitchenAid, and we're whisking away. It must be about 15 minutes later, and we're looking at it, and it's still just liquid, nothing was happening with it. And when I looked again at the container, it said reduced fat. So obviously, with it being so reduced fat, there was no fat to congeal it, so it couldn't make into butter. So we had a second making butter fail. So we'd done the first stage of the video, hadn't we? Actually. So I think someone's telling us at the minute to cut back on the butter. Well,
you can't beat making your own butter from the double cream. Especially with the price of butter now.
Yeah, my friends are getting jams, hot chocolates, marshmallows, honey. That's what they'll be getting. Yeah.
So you just can't afford to go out and buy the presents now.
How much is butter here? So what are we paying? £3 what?
We're paying £3.20 for 2 blocks. It's £1.80 each, or 2 for £3.20. But that's cheap compared to some places. Some places are £2.50, £3 for.
So Beth's in America. So how much would £3.80 be?
$4 probably.
$4 for two blocks.
Yeah, homemade, anything beats anything shop.
It does taste and pride, but sometimes we have to weigh it up now because of the costs of everything. Is it more cost effective? We do know every ingredient that's gone in it, so conscientiously and taste, yes, but we can't always say on a cost effective now because of how much everything is. So it's a bit of a balance now for a prepper, frugal prepper at that. Yeah,
$5 to $6 for the butter there.
Wow, that's a lot. Would we say our blocks are £1 of butter though?
No, probably not.
I don't think our blocks are £1. So would we say that was £0.5?
I don't know what's in it, 250 grams. Is there something like that for a block of butter?
I don't know how many grams. Our blocks are 500 grams. So how many grams are in £1 then?
Yeah, 500 grams, half a kilo. So ours are probably half the size of theirs, aren't
£0.5. Yeah, so ours are £0.5 blocks. So we're getting £1 for $4. Yeah, so yeah, that's what they're saying, $5 to $6 a
I'm
pound.
saying if you put some oil through the butter, it turns spreadable.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. What oil would you put in, Jane? Jam, sorry.
That's what you got to try and do, buy in bulk now. And buy as many as you can. Just works out cheaper in the long run.
It's having places to buy bulk from, though, isn't it? You know, it's all right if you've got a trader's card and you can go to some places, but if you haven't got a trader's card, you're not getting in to buy bulk in some places, are you? You know, that's the only thing you're excluded. I like homemade butter, and we do variations of it. You know, I'll put fruit in some. We'll do plenty of garlic, won't we? And make garlic butter,
especially with the wild garlic.
Yeah, and we prefer our butter salted, so we salt our own butter. So if you whip the olive oil in it?
No, olive oil.
Yeah, whip olive oil to make it spreadable.
No, any oil without too much to it. With any oil, not olive oil.
Oh, right. So one lady saying olive oil and the other one saying no. I suppose you could whip it by hand.
It takes ages.
But it does take ages. You're best doing it either in the KitchenAid or something like that.
And shaking it in the jar.
Oh, God.
Sitting there for an hour.
You could do it with one, but you couldn't continue, could you, and do a lot of it? You're not using 4 pints, are you?
No. Yeah, we can buy raw milk here, but it is a bit dearer.
We like raw milk, but it is expensive. It tastes
like how milk used to.
Yeah, with the cream on it. We used to sell raw milk quite a few years ago. We'd get it in quantity, and that was from a farm in Yorkshire, and it was absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Neither away.
That's why we got the mixer.
All these gadgets, I don't know what we're going to do without them when we do have to shake and we do have to do things, you know, if we have to minimise the consumption of all these electrical gadgets.
We've got our hand pull mixer though.
I'd like one of those wooden churn ones.
Yeah, the butter.
Yeah, I mean, it's much easier to turn something and swap hands, and then we can swap over than to sit there constantly doing this nonsense, you know. I call it nonsense. You'd have to do it, but it's hard work, yeah, when we're not used to it.
So you wonder how they did survive years ago without any of the...
But they did, you know, and quite well, you know, and they chose which things to bother with and which things not to bother with. But things like butter, you know, I couldn't revert back to eating margarine. I just couldn't do it, you know. I'd probably end up going without and be eating like the French do, you know, just the cheese and the bread separately if we could still get cheese. Yeah, I couldn't use a margarine again. I couldn't have that taste in my mouth. Do any of you still eat margarine?
It's just sickly now.
And is that one of those wooden twist ones when you say a daisy chain? So Beth's saying she bought hers off eBay. I'd really like one of those.
You did have stores like that a few years ago where you took your own stuff in and you got it out of the tubs, didn't you? But they didn't last, did they?
Or paper bags and jars and that. What were they called? You weighed your own out of a bucket.
They made a comeback about 5 or 6 years ago and then disappeared again.
There was like large containers with dried goods in them, wasn't there? And
cereal
you get a
and-
scoop, and you'd scoop it into your own container, weigh it, and then you'd be charged for the weight of the goods. Yeah.
Yeah, that Olivia's.
Oh, I'd love one of them, Brian. So Beth is saying it's a glass daisy chain with a wooden beater inside. Thank you so much for that, Beth. I'll actually take a look at that. That's something that I think most of us would find quite useful for making butter if we didn't have the electrical gadgets. Whether or not we could find the cream at that stage is another thing. But yeah, the gadget itself would be fabulous.
Yeah, we haven't found reduced cream for a while.
Yeah, that butter would probably be lovely from raw milk as well, because you've got the high cream content, so it would be really nice, yeah. Because that's the extra fat in it, isn't it? That'd be a wonderful
It is a lot
taste.
better raw milk. A lot tastier. I can't even drink milk now, unless it's in my tea. But I couldn't drink a glass of milk now.
Yeah, I can't drink the milk that we have now. Obviously can in coffee and a drink, but not by itself. It's not the same milk anymore, is it? It's not the same content. All our grocery stores allow us to bring our own cloth bags for dry bulk goods and clean glass mason jars for wet and bulk items. Are they the type of Mennonite Amish stores, Beth, or are they generic mainstream stores?
And that's what we need to go back to.
I would love to be able to have access to a Mennonite store or something like that, and actually see, be able to buy the goods that they sell, because they look absolutely fabulous to me.
Yeah, we done that on with the jar. We all shook it. Took ours.
Sounds fabulous. Right. Sounds really good.
And they're just the normal stores.
So what else has been going on this week, Mr. Wallflowers?
Apart from the football.
Well, no one's actually partook in celebrating the football, have they? Like we were saying, there hasn't been the flags on the houses or the flags on the cars and the taxis.
There hasn't been as much interest in it. There'll probably be even less now. England are out. Yeah, France beats England tonight.
So they're out the World Cup.
England are out.
Yeah. One thing I came across today, guys, we were talking about the Oxford 6 zones.
The Oxford trial lockdown.
Oxfordshire County Council climate change trial lockdown for 2024. On top of that now, I've heard today, I mean, it's been suggested for quite a while now, but I've heard today, apparently, from 2028, people in Wales will no longer be able to privately own a vehicle.
And this is only a couple of councillors that are saying that's what they're proposing.
Well, they wanted to bring it in for 2030.
Yeah.
And they want to bring it forward now to 2028. And these are proposals. So if they're going to go ahead with the Oxfordshire climate change trials, and that's successful in their eyes, will they bring things like this forward? You know, it's a big worry. I don't know if anyone's familiar or heard what I'm talking about at the moment, but within the whole of Wales, apparently, they want to tell Welsh people that from 2028, 2030, that they can no longer own their own vehicles.
But this Oxfordshire trial has been approved for 2024 for the 6 zones. 15-minute zones, you can only travel in your own zone. You can travel out twice a week out of your own zone. And that's being passed by their council. I don't know what the Oxfordshire people are saying about it.
And how would you feel if that was your zone where you live now? You know, that you couldn't travel more than 15 minutes out of your zone, other than twice a week.
In your vehicle, you can still walk, but it's just more control that they want over us. And especially if they're all digital, then good night, Annie.
Good night,
Thanks
Annie.
for coming.
And thanks for waiting patiently for us and bearing with us. Thank you so much, Annie.
Elderberries from France.
Oh, bonjour.
You know, the France people are made up with winning the football tonight.
Yeah, they were partying. Those that are interested.
Yeah, we make the elderberry champagne as well.
Yeah.
Make an elderberry syrup.
Who's making elderberry?
Oh, we make the elderflower champagne.
Yeah. Oh, lovely, but that's delicious. Now, do you just drink that as a cordial, or do you actually make other things with it as well? I know a friend of mine, Carol, she really enjoys drinking elderberry juice. She loves it, yeah.
I don't think people are going to wake up until it smacks them in the face. It'd be too late then.
What's your views on it, Stephen? What are you thinking? Well, that's the case, Beth. It'll be public transport and public transport only. So it'll be the filters of the facial recognition, tracking devices, you know, whether you're allowed access onto that.
That's it's cars now. It could be people.
It'll be public transport only, or the green initiatives of everyone owning a bicycle, and if it's within that reach. Because if you can't travel out, the zones will be you work in order of your... It's all part of the WEF and the futurism and the plans they've got for us. So basically, we'll all be living in these... is it a 15-mile zone?
Yeah.
So we'll all be living in these zones, and then we'll be living on the perimeter. And then the industrialisation will be in the centre, and we're living on the edge of it. And we'll all be working in the facilities. So the access is you can either ride there by bicycle, you can either walk, or if you needed public transport, you could use the public transport. You know, the ethos of what they're feeding us is you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You know, we won't own our homes, we won't own our vehicles, we won't own anything. We'll be dependent on the system. We'll live on the perimeter.
We'll be renting it off
in the
whoever
city.
Takes it off us. Maybe they will rent cars to you, or not. If you live in a rural area, you haven't got public transport, have you?
I agree with you, Stephen. You know, we've been looking at that for such a long time as well, and it's hard to know how to deal with it. You know, there isn't an awful lot of positivity when you're seeing it coming from... You know, we didn't think all this would take place in our lifetime. We knew it would happen eventually, and we could feel it coming and see it coming, but we didn't think it'd actually be this quickly in our lifetime. We didn't think the injections, the chips, the city zones, the complete and utter 1984 monitoring of us. You know, we didn't think it'd be this intense within our lifestyle, but yes, it is. It's here. And
there's been a few films made about it.
It's only going to get more and more and more. We are in the throes of 1984. You know, that's the society that it's utterly going to be, you know. and the black screen watching us, and if we don't toe the line, we'll be switched off. We know it's coming, and there isn't an awful lot of positivity, but at the same time, because of whether it's medical drugs, whether it's gases in the atmosphere, whether it's the mRNA in the food, or however you look at it, the mental state is being affected as well. So we have to, and this isn't a hippie or anything ethos, it's be strong within ourselves. We can't allow ourselves to break. We can't allow ourselves to sink down with this. We're seeing an awful lot of distress, but we have to keep getting up and fighting that next day. We still have to get up and get on with it, because we have to stay strong within ourselves. We have to keep our heart going and our mind connected to it. And we, everything is negative thrown at us, but the positivity is us and the communities and the people we speak to and how we keep each other afloat. That's the positive angle, of all this, dare I say, shit they're throwing at us. The thing is, the communities are coming together. It mightn't be as fast as we'd like it, and it mightn't be at the moment as much physical face-to-face, but we're actively talking to each other here in this community right now. We're just us on the screens, and the other community is coming closer, as I was just discussing before, and we are becoming a community, and we are heartfelt, mind-felt, real people discussing these issues. The media isn't real. The media is falsified, and it is, that telestar brainwashing. You will think this, you will think this. Well, we know different. We know different. Some of us still watch TV. Some of us still watch the news. We don't personally do any of that. But some within our community will still try to monitor those that are monitoring us, kind of thing. Don't know. It's difficult, but we still have to stay strong whilst we're going through it. Otherwise, we've already lost,
I mean, if the interest rates keep going up and people can't afford to pay for the mortgages and the rents, they're not going to have everybody out on the streets while the houses are boarded up and no one living in them. So they're going to have to take them over, whether it's the government, whether it's a local council, they're going to have to take them over and rent them back to you.
The government or those in power will be the ones that we're renting them from. It'll be state-owned. Everything will be, whether it's the king that owns them, whether it's the state that owns them, it'll be the powers that be that rent them to all of us. When we look back in history, the villagers paid their tariff and were allowed to stay, and etc. And it's just back to the old dystopian things. It is dystopia. That's where we're at.
It's like banging your head against the wall. You can't keep trying to inform people that just don't want to know. You end up losing it yourself because they're not listening.
So sad I've been demonised and lost so much work as a self-employed builder, trying to inform people of the dangers that are on us now. You see, it's difficult. Some aren't meant to hear, some aren't meant to see. Could you just empty that and then I'll fill this up with the flask? I've got a flask here. Some aren't meant to see, some aren't meant to hear, and some will just put the blinkers on and the eye patch on, and they don't want to see it and they won't believe it. That if the television didn't tell them or the media didn't tell them, they're not going to believe it. And we can hypothesize and we can say it's evidence and look at this and read this fact and this is approved and this has gone through, and we can state facts till we're blue in the face, and some just aren't meant to get the message. Some just aren't meant to understand. And we find each other and we come together in communities like this, and some will be on a much deeper level and understand much more, and some will be on a lighter level and fully get it, fully understand the ethos, But we'll all do it it's a level thing, and it's spirit, intelligence, feelings, heart, whatever it is, even within a marriage, even within a love affair, a relationship, a friendship, you'll be on different levels of different tangents. Some will love more, some will have more intelligence, some will, have more emotions, but we come together. We still come together and lock together, but some will know more of this aspect and some will know more of that aspect and understand more. And then there's those on the peripheral that are part of our lives that we see every day and have got no understanding whatsoever. And some of them might be our loved ones, our families. Some of them could even be our partners. It's crazy. Some just aren't meant to understand, and some of us are meant to feel too much. They're the empaths. It's difficult. We've just got to stay strong. I don't think we will be seen as troublemakers. We've been called tin hatters. We've been called conspiracy theorists. We've been called different things. And even those that refused to get vaccinated or wear masks during the COVID lockdown, I don't think we were ever called troublemakers. I think, some of them looked at us and pitied us and thought we were going to be ill first, or we were going to die first, or however horrific the mindset was of the person looking down upon us for our views. But I don't think they actually thought we were causing trouble. Well, not in my instant. That's not what I gathered. I don't know if you saw it differently, Jane. Sorry, Anne. I live in a tiny cul-de-sac of 5 bungalows. We trade and barter and have since the start of the COVID nonsense. We didn't know each other very well, but we do now. That's absolutely fabulous, Sadie. That sounds wonderful.
So you need your local community to come together and help each other.
Yeah, I don't mind, Jane. If they thought I was, I don't mind. It's just something I've not been called as yet. Yeah, well, that's exactly how I see it. And, I don't think they're going to print new paper with King Charles's head on.
Well, the new coins are supposed to be in circulation now, aren't they? But I think it's not going to last long, is it?
No, I don't think they'll go beyond the coins.
No.
I don't think they'll do polymer or paper, as it were. I don't think they'll come out with the actual notes because they're looking to digitalise, aren't they? And they're looking to do that as soon as possible. And the banking system is really working hard at doing that now, aren't they?
It's all central banks now, isn't it? That's it. If we stick together and voice our opposition, you can't fight for your freedom because they brought in regulations and rules that you can't.
Well, it was the beginning of October, wasn't it, when the Vatican City were recalling all their assets. Now, I've not heard any more since then if they succeeded in getting their assets returned. And this is where the ultimate debt that we're in comes from, because the Vatican have the most power. So whether a lot of the debt the world is feeling right now is because of the Vatican actually recalling all their assets, and the other excuses are put in place, or whether it's actually happened or not. We do know they wanted them all assets returned by the 1st of October, wasn't it?
31st, I think. The end of October, wasn't it?
No, I thought it was the beginning of October.
I'm sure it was the end.
It might be, I don't know. It was October something anyway. So I don't know if that relates directly to the banking system or what's going on there. But we do know BlackRock is the head of the banking system. And Larry Fink is the man, isn't he? He is, as Guy Marco suggests, he is Satan on earth, isn't he? Because he is...
so much.
He is the head of BlackRock, the CEO, isn't he? And him and Klaus Schwab.
It's not just BlackRock. There's about four main companies.
So Klaus Schwab from WEF and Larry Fink from BlackRock are the guys running the planet right now, aren't they? Let's be realistic about it.
Look the lights off to bed.
Night, Lizzie and Dave.
Good night, Liv.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks
Cheers,
for your
Dave.
stream earlier. Speak to you soon. So yeah, that's my view. Larry Fink and Klaus Schwab are the two guys running the planet right now.
There's plenty of people talking about it on the internet. You can read up about it. But you just get called a conspiracy theorist if you...
But it's okay. Most of us are used to that by now. What sites? I think look into WEF and see what they propose, really, Shire Finds, and without sounding too much like a conspiracy theorist, but look at the New World Order and the Agenda 21, Agenda 30 plans. Once you look into those types of things and the messages that were engraved into the Georgia Guidestones before they were taken down, and you sit back and you give it some of your own discernment and you put the story all together, you kind of like see what they're projecting onto us. And all of that includes the digitalization, the chipping, us living on the peripheral,
The smart.
and living in a smart grid, being monetized by the smart gadgets, and working in the industrialization to keep everything going afloat, the animals having more respect on earth than we do, and we're mere cattle, part of the animal kingdom, except everything we do is for the betterment of everyone else. So in turn, that means we have no right to complain, no right to protest, no rights to anything, because everything is given. We don't own anything. We don't even own the right to complain, you know.
I mean, they brought all the injunctions out now. You can't go and protest.
So the
anymore.
names again were WEF, World Economic Forum, that is Klaus Schwab. He is the leader of them. If you look into the New World Order and Agenda 21 and Agenda 30,
BlackRock.
You look into BlackRock of the banking system, and every banking system intertwines, goes back
They're
to
all
BlackRock.
linked. It's not just BlackRock. There's about 4 different companies that own everything.
One.
They've all got shares in each other's things. Tesla, everything. They're all interlinked, and they all want the same thing. Just have a look at it and make your own mind.
Make your own mind up. You know, our opinions are just that, our opinions. You know, you have to look in, do your own due diligence. You have to research things, and whatever your opinion is just as valid as anyone else's. Your opinion is your opinion. We're not here to change anyone's mind. We just open discussion, and I would never put anyone down or fall out with anyone for a disagreement of opinion. And I will never lower my opinion or lower my self-esteem because somebody doesn't agree with me. We can debate as adults, and if we agree, we can agree. If we disagree, we can debate and we can talk about it, but we can talk about it like adults and not fall out. But you must have your own opinion. You can't just listen to another person and say, well, I'm now going to think what that person thinks, because that's when we get drawn down blind alleys and we're following people with hidden agendas. And so many of us have fell for that kind of thing before. You have to have your own due diligence. You have to read, you have to research, and you have to discern for yourself and decide for yourself, what do you actually think in your heart? What's your brain and your gut feeling telling you? You know, and then research a little bit more and then decide for yourself. No matter what I'm saying, no matter what anyone else says, you have to think for yourself. We've only got our own brains and our own hearts, and we have to listen to it.
That's it. They want rid of the unions, but they've always wanted rid of the unions. But I think Rishi's trying to bring something out now, isn't he? Trying rushing it through Parliament to get rid of the unions and the power of the union. Not that they've got much power anyway. But
But-
that's it. They want people on 0-hour contracts, so they can't complain. They want people on minimum wage.
You want people in debt.
You want people self-employed, so they don't have to pay holiday pay to them.
You're right, Elderberry. People are tired of thinking for themselves, but that's because we've been led down blind alleys, and education is being taught how another person thinks in the school system, in the scholarly world. Education isn't real education. Education is being told what to think. It's a program.
You have a syllabus, and
I
you
think
follow
what
the
we're
syllabus.
more tired of is being programmed. There's so much available on the internet. We can still watch the media. We can still read. We can take books out the library. We can, we can decide what genres, what kind of information we're looking for and what we want to concentrate on. And we have to educate ourselves. And yes, it's tough. Yes, like anything, learning to walk when we were babies was hard work, but we never gave up. Learning to do anything is hard work. But when you learn how to do it and you get in a rhythm of it, you forget you're learning. It becomes enjoyment, and it becomes second nature. And yes, we're tired of following other people and being educated to think what other people think. I find many people like us, I was quite good at school in certain subjects, and in languages and in different things. I was top of the class, and people had asked to copy my homework and different things because I enjoyed school. How many people over the years have told you that they copied my homework? And
Nobody copied mine.
And I'm not being big-headed. It was natural. I just enjoyed school because my parents built me up on that level, and I enjoyed it. And there was also different aspects that I struggled in, and that was being told I had to think a certain way, being told I had to do things a certain way, when I always wanted to experiment and see if I could do it myself without having to do set things. And I think a lot of us like that struggled in certain ways at school.
It's just a memory test.
And found it easier after school, and found that we had... It sounds pompous saying it this way, but found we had a better level of intelligence that some people actually thought we had. And I think because we've researched and we've done our own discernment and we've done different things like that, it might come across to others as crazy, batshit conspiracy theorists. But then when we talk about it, it's a level of intelligence that's not educational system. I hope that makes sense. It's hard to get it over.
The education system is just a memory test. If you've got a good memory and you can remember what they're telling you, then you're going to finish top of the class. And it was scary how quick they locked us down, and everybody just fell into line, and they all went along with it. It was scary how quick it happened.
What was Vanguard, Brian?
They're another one, like BlackRock. There's
the
four different like companies that own everything.
It is ownership, isn't it? As much as we'd like to think we're free, it's a perspective, isn't it? We're free within our
own heads.
Within our own heads. But when it comes to leaving your house and the front door, we're not actually free, are we? Whether you say it's chattel or cattle, we are owned, we are monitored, we are ruled in every aspect. Freedom is a perspective, isn't it?
Loads of people didn't pay the fines that they got in lockdown.
We continued. We went to visit friends. We, went to hospitals, went to the shops. We just did everything that we'd normally do, and we never wore masks, and we never played the game. Exactly, Anne. So Anne says, I was going to say education does not allow for anything other than be a worker, even down to the uniforms they provide. Exactly. And you know, they only teach
Conform.
you as much as they want you to know. So you might know that first, say we're in a factory setting, I might know how to fill this cup. I don't know what's going into the cup. I don't know how the mixture was made to go into the cup. And I don't know the next stage where I pass it on to the next person, what they're going to do with it, what their step is and what they're going to make it into, etc. That you only know as much as you need to know for you to function and do that one set job that they may or may not be paying you to do.
You don't know what goes on above your head and in the
Free your
boardroom.
mind, Neo. Exactly. And another way of looking at that matrix, as I say, I watch a guy called Guy Marco, and he's saying the matrix is actually the map tricks. It's a bit deep, and you'd probably have to watch a bit of Guy Marco to understand that. But it's something. It's something I personally watch. Mr. Wallflowers will pop in and out and take a bit here and take a bit there. But I like to follow Guy Marco, and it is quite deep, and it takes a bit of understanding. But I enjoy his work.
Yeah, that's what the uniforms were brought in for. But even now, the schools are having their own uniforms, what they're selling, which is double the price of what you could have bought in a shop somewhere. And you've got to buy the school's uniform, what they've provided.
I could be wrong here, says, hey, I read a comment last night. Someone went to the dentist or a hospital yesterday and the nurse said there'll be another lockdown soon.
Well, we know it's coming. We know it's coming.
A friend of mine on Facebook put a comment on, must be about 6 weeks ago now, and she was watching daytime TV. What's that lady called? Lorraine? Scottish lady.
Oh, Kelly.
Lorraine Kelly. She has a programme on the telly. And apparently she was talking to someone and she says, I'll keep that and do it in the lockdown. So obviously we're way after the last lockdown. So she knew then at that point there was going to be another lockdown, and that was on mainstream TV.
The MK Ultra.
So we know there's another lockdown, but I can personally only presume it's all going to be climate stuff now. They suggested it might have been monkeypox was the next one, and then that didn't take off because
they're saying scarlet fever now. The kids
scarlet fever with the children, unfortunately, yeah, and they've targeted the children with that one, which is quite sad. And now they're saying they can't get the antibiotics, although there's an abundance of antibiotics and tablets, but they just haven't made the medicine form for the children. It's just absolutely bizarre. But I think the next big thing is they're going to go right for it, and everything's going to be climate change based, which is ridiculous. You know, the weather has always gone through cycles, and there's always been, you know, if we have an extremely warm summer, we're going to have an extremely cold winter, so on and so forth. You know, there's a good peer-reviewed paper written by a gentleman called Ralph Ellis, ELLIS. There's some things he believes in that I don't necessarily believe in. But the peer-reviewed paper he wrote on climate change is most interesting. And it's the first paper I ever read of a realistic view that he did. And it's based on really about if we have a hot summer, we're going to have an exceedingly cold winter. And that's peaks and troughs and happens, you know, all the time with the weather.
It's always done. Ice ages, heat waves. If it was 100 degrees on Christmas Day here, then maybe so. You'd say, oh, that's a bit of a climate change.
It's a good paper to read, though. Yeah.
Well, we're still getting winter, summer, autumn, spring.
My dad was a racetrack bookie, and I learned more about life there than at my grammar school, which I hated. Yeah, real life. Yeah. Real life, real talk.
You don't start learning until you leave school, get in the real world. We don't know what they're going to try next, but they're going to try something.
That's right, Sheriff. And the planet has done what it's done for many years. Well, we had the pollution of chimneys, and we'll probably go back to that pretty
I mean,
soon.
the coal, they banned the coal, and now they've just announced they're opening up a new coal mine in Cumbria.
Yeah. Everybody had chimneys, whether they were burning wood, whether they were burning coal, or whatever fuel they were burning. And the sky was smoggy, foggy, whatever, and they weren't saying ozone damage, climate change, and all of that stuff then, and I can say, they can say, oh, well, it took all these years for it to affect it. Barely anyone, people are more and more now, because of the fuel stage, are going for wood burn stoves and things like that. So we're going to get somewhat of that again. But the weather will be what it's been, the same for millions of years. It's natural. Yeah.
A lot of people are homeschooling here now. There's more and more homeschooling, especially since lockdown.
People need to ask questions of their own. You're right, Stephen Parks, and it's the silly little things. You might think, it's a little intricacy. And when you put more and more thought into that and expand on these intricacies, you see a bigger picture, and you form your own theory, and you look into it more. And then, if you look and try and research it and go, they're called rabbit holes, or they're called different things, but they're not. It's you actually salving your own conscience and working out what you actually think. And it normally starts from something that you think is unimportant, unapparent, or whatever. It can be a trivial little thing, but the more you look into that and grasp it, things grow. I'm trying to think of an example, and
I mean, a lot of the things that you look at first, you think, oh, that's crazy, they wouldn't do that. And the more you look into it and you read both sides of it, you take what you take out of it, and it's the one with the most sense, isn't it? And it's usually the conspiracy theory one that makes more sense than.
I would like to think, oh, they'd never do that. Not allow
That's
us
why
to
people
leave
don't
our
believe
zone.
it, because they'll watch the
going
news.
To happen?
They'll watch the news, and the news won't report anything. I mean, they never reported any of the lockdown marches that were going on when everybody was in lockdown. But yeah, a couple of weeks ago, they were reporting on the Chinese who were locked down, but they were reporting on their marches. But they didn't report on it here.
Yeah.
2 years ago, when they were happening on the streets of London, Liverpool, Birmingham, Manchester. It all just got ignored. And because it's not on the news, people don't believe it. And that's why it's called a programme. News programme.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Cheers, Steve. It's good to be with like-minded people and just talk.
At first on this channel, and I started just like cooking the food and canning the food and talking. I tried to hold back, and I'd say certain things about how I felt about recycling and stretching things and making the most and not spending and things like that. I'd say about the last 6 months or so, maybe longer, I thought, now I've got to be myself, and I've got to talk how I feel, and I've got to discuss relevant things and not hold myself back and feel as if I have to. If people don't like it and they walk away, then some people will have that choice. And, if they think they don't like me talking, then that's okay. It just has to be okay, because that's what happens in real life, and that's how we all deal with it. But we have to be us, don't we?
That's it. They sacked the on-job care workers and they had no staff.
No, well, what they actually did, they sacked or threatened to sack them, so the majority left because they didn't want to have sacked on the CV or wherever going for future jobs. So the majority actually left before they were sacked, but some did get sacked. Now, what they had to do then, because of the lack of workers, they then employed from agency workers, whether they were vaxxed or unvaxxed, and they replaced the steady workers that they'd had for years, or whatever, and they had these temporary workers that took the place of these solid workers that they already had.
That were trained
How
for years.
demotivating and belittling was that for the staff that had to leave because they didn't want sacked on the CV or actually got sacked? Absolutely diabolical behaviour. How can you treat people like that? But they were good enough to go through the stages when these people, dare I say it, had been euthanized with midazolam and the likes, absolutely disgusting, and going through such turmoil on very little pay, may I add. Carers' pay is,
for what they do.
Getting paid by the hour and not for travel and this, that and the other. It's absolutely disgusting. Top respect for care workers.
That's it. They're advertising now for on-jab blood in blood banks. You just couldn't make it up.
Lots of people are scared to say what they think now. It's a shame. As adults, debate and discussion should be acceptable. If someone tells you you can't discuss something, there's a problem. If we can't talk politely and debate politely and agree to disagree, if that's what it has to come to, and you're told you're not allowed to discuss a certain topic, whatever that may be, there's a problem. That person's hiding something, Religion, politics, day-to-day living, sexuality, whatever it is. If you're not allowed to discuss it, there's a problem. There's a hidden agenda. Definitely. We have had colder years, definitely.
So we get mild winters, we get cold winters.
This is England. This is it. We're used to it, and people in other countries as well know their weather, Whatever you say, you can't please everyone, so better be yourself. It's true. Absolutely true. You can't be anyone else, so you might as well endorse who you are and enjoy it.
Before we started this stream, we were saying, we'll just talk about Christmas has gone past, and Mary says, we'll probably get drawn into all the conspiracy theories and all the things, and I said, no, we won't, it'll just be Christmas. And yeah, there we are.
I think these are the best topics though, aren't they? We enjoy memory lane, we enjoy all that, but when we know, and you can't pretend you don't know anymore. What's that? The coal mine in Whitehaven is for the steel works, not houses. But
they're still saying coal's bad, but they're opening up a new coal mine. It still doesn't make sense.
And do we really want to be going down that system again, though?
Or was coal that bad?
It probably wasn't, but do you want to be the one that's mining it?
No.
Do you want the emphysema? Do you want those illnesses and those work conditions? Do we want our sons doing them?
That's what we keep saying. These theories are coming true. We've got none left now.
That's a personal choice, that one, Jared. Happy holidays, Christmas, Medieval. Yeah. People will celebrate and will call holidays whatever they call them,
It's still Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
mean, we used to look forward to the Christmas holiday. Now we only get 2 days. We used to get 2 weeks off. Now we only get 2 days.
That was the debate with our sons, wasn't it? One son works in an office and they have a shutdown for 2 weeks and he's able to have a 2-week holiday. The other son works in a factory and he was asked to request what holidays he wanted. And Mr. Wallflowers drives a white van, a silver van.
Delivery.
And he literally gets, what holidays do you get?
Christmas Day, Boxing Day.
Christmas Day and Boxing Day, so it's only the 2 days, so there's a big discrepancy in what type of job you do, what holidays you do, because it depends on how your company functions. So when we explain to our younger son, you literally only book the holidays you need, possibly New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and just take the 4 holidays if that's what you're allowed to do, and don't be taking a 2-week period because you're not going to get paid, so you're not going to have that money. So it's a learning curve.
And they survived World War II through community spirit, didn't they? Being together. Yeah, we did sell all the steel industry. I think China owns most of the steel industry over here now, don't they?
That's it. Who owns the post office?
So we don't own nothing.
Sold everything out from under our feet, didn't he?
Well, as Sadie's saying, a baby in New Zealand was taken off the parents and given jab blood against the parents' wishes. You don't even own your children.
Well,
they can come and take your children anytime.
Well, because you've used the hospital service, isn't it? You've signed yourself over.
You've christened them. Well, you've registered them, haven't you?
Yeah.
You register the birth when they're born.
And that's no longer your property.
You don't own that child. They can come and take your child anytime they want.
It's scary, isn't it? At the same time, we wouldn't want to see a child in a violent or abusive home setting. But
there are
to think that powers can
just
take your child for no reason or make up a cock and bull story and just take your child is terrifying.
And they can come and section you. They can just take you and put you in some hospital, can't they?
Exactly. Jan, the self-employed don't get paid bank holidays, etc. They won't get paid holidays at all. They're self-employed, and that's why more and more companies are doing it. That's what Karen was discussing this evening. And companies like Uber will say they have no employees because everyone's self-employed. It's bizarre, isn't it?
When is your next live?
Who's asking that?
Show fans.
Myself and Karen from Prime of Midlife will be doing one on the 17th. Next Saturday, but that will be on the Prime of Midlife channel. And are we doing one the week after?
And it'll be Christmas Eve the week after. We can do.
Yeah, if people would like us to do one Christmas Eve, we can do one Christmas Eve. That'd be great.
But we'll have to get to bed early.
Oh, Santa's coming. Would anyone like to chat with us Christmas Eve? We hadn't thought that far ahead, had we, really?
No. We don't even know what we're doing tomorrow.
We do. Preparing you for work for Monday. Oh, Homestead Tessie. Hi, beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I talked about you earlier. I don't know if you missed it. You have to go back and see the beginning again now, Tessie. Wonderful to see you. Yeah, so I don't know. Possibly Christmas Eve if everyone would like to chat with us.
Have you got snow yet, Tessie? A few from America have been on saying they've had snow.
3 foot, one lady said, didn't she?
We've had a little bit today. Nothing like what you got, though.
The baby's ill and needs an operation, but the parents wanted to guarantee that they would use unjabbed blood, so the courts took the decision to go ahead with with jabbed blood. That's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
So they can just do what they want.
You just don't know how those parents are mentally dealing with that when, you know, you're told we don't want that for our child. We know the risks involved and we just don't want that, you know. You just...
It comes to something when the courts decide on the health of somebody. It's decided in the courtroom.
Termination, turning machines off, forced blood transfusions, you know, a decision made out of your hands, and you're waiting for someone to come back to tell you whether your loved one is going to live or die. It's horrific.
Thanks
Lovely
for
to
coming.
see you, Shire Fines. We'll speak to you soon, hon. Yeah, it's been a lot of nice interaction here tonight. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I could be wrong. Bought my first can of mackerel and tomato sauce today. Have seen yours. It was yesterday. Real cheap in Poundland. But what I do with them, I think I would be keen on the tomato. You do anything with it really. It's nice mixed with pasta, or rice, or you could just have it on toast. Mackerel on toast is beautiful.
You can take it out of the sauce.
You can take it out of the sauce. You could even rinse it through if you really didn't like the sauce. But yeah, I like fish and tomato sauce. I like pilchards and tomato sauce. I like mackerel and tomato sauce. Put it in anything that you'd put fish in, really. Yeah. Hi, Pam. Night, Sadie.
Good night.
Lovely having you with us.
Thanks for coming. Pilchard on toast. That's it. And the good thing about them is they are cheap.
Hi, Franjan.
Sardines. Well, cheap tins.
I love pilchards. I love pilchards and rice. Years ago, we used to get those soups in a box. I think they were Norse soups, weren't they, in a little tiny box? And I used to start off with a frying pan. And I used to put 2 spoons of Branston pickle in. The soup mixture with either half a pint of water. Bring that together in the pan. Add the can of pilchards, boil the rice separately. If I had any herbs or anything, I'd put the herbs in the rice. I like a drop of vinegar on white rice. So once it was cooked and drained thoroughly, I would add a drop of vinegar to the white rice and then add the soup pilchard mixture to the rice. Really nice. That was one of my teenage meals when I first had my flat.
Frugal meal.
The frugal meal, yeah. It used to go a long, long way. I used to invite friends round, make a really big pan of it. Everyone would have a plate of fish and rice. And if there was any alcohol bought or anything like that, the friends would bring that and I would provide the meal. It was lovely. Pilchards for 60p. Was that the big tin, Jane, or the small tin? Oh, you're very welcome, Franjan.
Quite a big tin.
Yeah.
Yeah, need to make my own baked beans. We wanted to do that as well. What are the beans?
Pinto beans. Pinto beans or navy beans. I'm not sure which one. Oh no, haricot beans.
Oh yeah,
haricot beans make the baked beans. Yeah. We've never actually done that ourselves yet because they're so easily available for me to get at the Food Initiative. Yeah. So I get 2 tins of beans a week. Plus I buy the catering size. So we've always got a supply of beans. So I've never actually had to make them from the haricot themselves. Not going just yet. Just want to thank you for this decent discussion. Oh, you're very welcome, Jan. Very welcome.
Can't believe we've been on all flies. What does beans on toast taste like? You never had beans on toast.
Now, I read
Beans on
once.
toast is amazing.
I read once the iron content and the nutrients from beans on toast were just as good as a roast meal, a roast dinner
Yeah,
with the meat.
nutrients and
Yeah, the
stuff.
nutrients in beans on toast are wonderful. What does beans on toast taste like? So beans on toast is haricot beans in
Baked beans.
in tomato sauce. So we call them baked beans on toast. And it, how can I describe it?
Amazing.
The beans, once cooked and in the tomato sauce, the beans themselves have a rather buttery,
Soft.
tomatoey, soft texture.
And it soaks into the toast.
And it's the juice soaks into the toast, and
yeah.
it's quite a common lunchtime meal here if someone's at home during the day
Breakfast.
or a breakfast. Yeah,
It's better if the toast is a bit burnt as well.
You like slightly burnt toast, don't
Love
you?
burnt toast.
She thinks it was the small pilchards. Yeah.
So there used to be 3p the tins of pilchards and sardines, but even they've gone up. But they're still cheap compared to some tins of fish.
Yeah, Tessie likes beans on toast.
Yeah, you got to try beans on toast. Yeah, a bit of cheese on, or even an egg.
Yeah,
fried
an egg on
the
beans
top.
on toast. Yeah,
And the
a
yolk.
bit of salt on the yolk.
Look, I'm hungry again.
We're talking food. Oh, Tessie's mum used to make beans on toast. Tessie's American, Beth. I'm sure you're aware who Tessie is, and her mum eats it. Used to eat it.
Yeah, hot dog sausages as well.
Sliced up on the beans.
With the beans.
Yeah. We get miniature hot dogs sometimes in our tins of beans.
Yeah, beans and sausage.
Beans and sausage, and so beans and sausage on toast is quite a good one. Yeah. Beans on toast with an egg is elderberry's one.
And even any egg.
The hot dogs have got to be sliced, yeah. What about eggy bread? Dipping the bread in two sides and frying it. Yeah. And that with beans on. Eggy bread with beans on. Yeah.
It's like a fried bread, isn't it?
Yeah. Coated in egg. It's lovely. We do like our basic food. We're pretty plain tasting food, isn't it? But it's the different ways you put it together. I'm eggy bread. Oh my God, sorry. Oh my, haven't done that for ages. If she is the same home, said Tessie, I know I sent her some of mine 1940s. Oh, that was wonderful of you. I'm sure Tessie would have loved those. Yes, Beth. Hi, Beth. Oh, see, they know each other. Isn't that wonderful?
Aren't we good bringing everyone together?
Oh, on a card too. Oh, that's absolutely beautiful.
I'd say beans are still cheap, but they have gone up.
It depends where you get them and if you desire a brand name one. You know, years ago, before the price inflations, I still bought the cheaper beans. And it took a while to cross Mr. Wallflowers over from the brand name beans to the cheaper beans. But we used to add a teaspoon of butter, excuse me, and a little squirt of brown sauce and bring them to the heat. So the butter would add into the tomato sauce of the beans and slightly thicken it.
It thickens the sauce.
And there was no difference between adding the butter and the sauce to a cheap tin than there would be to a brand name tin. And that's what we did for many a year, wasn't it? 6
tins of Heinz for £8.
Oh, wow, that's shocking, that, isn't it? Yeah, Pam still adds butter and a pinch of salt. Yeah, you get into the habit of it, don't you? Yeah, if the quality, you want to just slightly improve it and do it the way you do it. Yeah.
Yeah, we did jar butter. We opened it the other day. It wasn't a
Have you?
success.
Yeah, we jarred it. How long ago? About a year ago.
I think it was January. Was it?
So January we canned butter, but I think it was the quality of the jars. We actually used, because we Rebel can.
They would recycle jars.
That thing of not being told how to do it and doing your own, because we found it so difficult over here to get the canning jars that are freely available in supermarkets, etc., all over America. I decided, although I'm Rebel canning, I go that step further and use the recycled store-bought jars and use them. But unfortunately, when I made the butter,
it still looked good.
I made the butter, then turned it into ghee, and then I canned it. But I canned it in used Dorito sauce jars, and everything I've made in those Dorito jars hasn't been successful as it. So I don't think those Dorito jars are successful for canning. I will redo butter and I will can it again because I've seen Rebel canners do it. And as I say, I've got the new Hobbycraft jars now, and they're wonderful.
And Tessie said she's eating it every day. So she done it 2 years ago.
And was your canning butter, Tessie, was it successful, and are you eating it a while later off the shelf? I use it daily, but yes, I was wondering how it did with your jars. Yeah, mine wasn't successful because it was Dorito jars. Yes, so canning butter is a thing. Tessie's doing it, and she's successful with it and eating it. So I will do it again in the new Hobbycraft jars and see how successful that is. Because we opened the jar. This is a tale I have to tell you. We opened the jar, and Mr. Wallflower smelt it. And I have a bit of a queasy stomach anyway, so I said to Mr. Wallflowers, you taste it first. So we'd made bread the day before, so we cut a slice off of the bread, put the bread to one side, and he tasted the butter, and he went, oh yeah, it's nice and creamy. So he put some with the teaspoon onto the slice of butter, and he took a bite, to the bread, sorry, and he took a bite, and he was happily eating it away, and you went, yeah, it tastes quite nice. So he brings a teaspoon to me to taste, and I take the tiniest piece off the edge and taste it, and it soured. It was just unbearable for me, you know.
I thought it was all right.
You've got a cast iron stomach. I don't know how you cope. Tessie's saying the Hobbycraft jars will work fine. That's fabulous to know. So that's what I'll do the next time I get some double cream and make some. That'll be wonderful. But yeah, I'm always going to be honest. If something doesn't work, then I will always be honest, you know.
But we'll try
trial and error. But it won't stop me trying again. And now I know the Hobbycraft jars will be good. That's fabulous. Long story, back in the 70s when the Yorkshire Dales, James Herriot exposed us to bangers and mash, and we were hooked. In America, yeah.
Bangers and mash.
We have bangers and mash. Sometimes
and onion gravy
over the top. Or sometimes we'll just have beans in tomato sauce again on the side and a sprinkling of cheese. So we'll do it different ways, won't we? For tea tonight, for our evening meal tonight, we had a chippy tea, but we made it at home. So we cut and fried our own chips. We grilled our own sausages. We had mushy peas. We had a nice onion gravy over the top, and it was delicious. Yeah, it was a homemade chippy tea for tea.
And Rebel canning dangerous. It scares me. But all you got to do is smell, taste, look.
You have to do what's right for you. If you want to follow the USDA rules, then that's what you feel you have to do to provide for your family. If you don't want to Rebel can, no one says you have to. If I don't want to USD and follow every single rule, no one's telling me I have to. It's our kitchen, and we have to do what suits us. That's good.
Just trust your own senses.
So long as I smell the food and it's look at the food and it looks okay, smell the food and it smells okay, taste the food and it tastes okay, I'm happy. If I've smelt it and I've tasted it and it's not okay, I'm not going to eat it. I'm not going to give it to anyone else. So that's what we do. Tessie hasn't successfully canned the milk.
We've done milk once. I mean, I think that's still on the shelf. We haven't looked at that.
We haven't tested that, have we? I've seen other people do the milk, but I'm not sure, again, what type of jars they use, etc. See, we can't get the canning jars over here. We can if we go to specialist shops.
They are expensive.
But they're really expensive, and we'd be paying £5, £6 and more pounds for one jar.
A couple of jars.
To do that on quantities to stock a pantry, it's just not viable for us. You know, it really isn't. You've got to have money to afford to use canning jars here. And we don't have garage sales selling them. We don't have them in the Asda, which is your Walmart. We don't have them available in the supermarkets at all. So we're having to go to specialist places to buy them. It's just not affordable for people in of our financial status anyway. It's just not affordable.
You can't buy much canning stuff in supermarkets.
No, any jar lifters, canning machines, even what's that thing you put on the jar so you're not making any spillages and
the funnel.
The funnel. You know, everything like that we have to buy on the internet. We can't buy it in the shops at all. What is it called that I can food in? I have a German digital canner. So it basically looks like a giant tea urn. And it's called a...
I can't remember what it's called.
Clarstein. It's a Clarstein digital canner, German made. And my son bought it for me a few years ago. It cost approximately Clarstein, a digital canner, like a giant tea urn, and it cost him around £165. And I've used that ever since. And most of the canning I do is rather successful in it. I do have a few mishaps here and there, but a lot of the time it can be the quality of the jars. I would to import on here. I don't know what that means, Tessie. Sorry. I would to import on here. I do water bath some things, but a lot of things will go in the canning machine. Yeah, you pressure can, don't you, Tessie? But you do water bath some things as well, don't you? Mine is a water bath canner. You're correct. It's a digital canning machine. On Amazon, the Clarstein digital canner, and as I say, a couple of years ago, £165 on Amazon, Tessie. Some of them do. Some of the pressure canners can be quite expensive, I've seen. Very good. Let me know how it goes. A friend successfully cans raw milk, and I think that works because the cream is removed and the canning process only heats the milk once, unlike store-bought milk that is homogenized and pasteurized. Yeah, I think if she's removing the milk, she's removing the bulk of the fat, and it would be the fat content that would cause any problems in the canning, I think. I found my machine really good, yeah. I think most faults
Yeah, it's not a pressure canner, it's a water canner.
A water bath canner, yeah. I think most faults are down to the jars I'm using, so it can be hit and miss sometimes with the jars or the lids. But the bulk of what we can is fine, isn't it? And we eat from it, it's a working pantry. We eat from it regularly.
We had potatoes, carrots, and what was the other thing we canned? They were from 2 years ago, and we had them a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
In the meal.
We're always eating from the pantry, stuff we've canned, stuff we've stored, stuff we've dehydrated. We're always, as I say, it's a working pantry, so it's something we use every day. To me, your canner appears to be a water bath canner, not a pressure canner.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy with how it functions anyway, with what we do with it.
I mean, we still do some in the oven. We still do some in the pan.
Yeah.
If there's only a couple of tins to do.
Water bathing in the pan with the tea towel on the base of the pan, and covering just an inch of the jar. Water bathing, oven can bathing.
We are careful. Canning. We will smell. We will taste. If it doesn't taste good, we won't eat it.
It's lovely to hear you say we've taught you so much, Tessie, because I was just saying at the top of the chat, yourself and Whippoorwill Holler, were the two of you I learned so much from. And it's fabulous to have you as a friend now. When you first come on, I had tears in my eyes because I'd aspired to follow you for a long time, and I've learned so much from you over the years. Just the peace and the way you talk and express yourself, I just find it wonderful. Yeah, I love your lifestyle. We're different in so many aspects, but the same in so many too. And I just love everything you do, love. So Pam says, you can buy replacement lug lids for pennies. I find strong smelling jars I'm reusing, like pickles, etc. Still smells after washing, dishwashing, etc. Yeah,
just use them for
making more pickles. Yeah. Homestead Tessie canned cheese yesterday. Fabulous. I did water bathed some cheese, but it wasn't highly successful. A couple we were able to use, but not all of them. How did you can the cheese, Tessie? And what type of cheese was it first?
I mean, we done ours on top of the cooker, didn't we?
Yeah. Sheila, this lady, this German lady, is it in English or would I have to use the translator on the subtitles? That sounds really interesting, that. So what's her name? Naturlich Selbstgemacht. I'll go through this and take a note of that and I'll have a look at that lady. Thank you so much.
And thanks for that, Pam.
Yeah, nacho cheese would be great because it's more of a liquidy concept, isn't it? Yeah, that sounds fabulous. Recanning it, yeah. I've done some recanning. I've seen you do that in the past as well. Yeah, lovely.
I never thought that I could have made pastry with the butter.
What butter?
With the tin butter. Make savoury pastry with it.
Oh. I will. I'll look to recan some nacho cheese. That'll be fabulous if we can get it here. It's not something we come across an awful lot, is it?
No.
We'd have to look for it.
As they say, you can't can all cheese, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's great because there's so many things you can recan. As I say, I regularly recan the beans from the. I always forget that word.
You got me forgetting it now. Catering
size, or barbecue sauce, or mustards, or anything that come in the catering size jars or tins, and recan them. Um,
Don't write that
yeah.
down. Not
I don't know what Velveeta is. I'm sorry, Tessie.
Oh, what was the other thing you said on the video the other day? Riff raff or something. What was that?
Rick Rack. I didn't know what a Rick Rack was.
We were like,
either.
what's that? And then you couldn't find it, so we didn't know what it was.
Yeah. Right, okay. We'll keep our eyes peeled then. Is that kind of a same type of nacho type of cheese? Oh, it's a block of American cheese.
The cheese that we can come in a block, it was a white block, wasn't it? It was Italian. What was that?
Yeah,
called?
that was nice. It wasn't mozzarella. It was more set than a mozzarella, but it was still quite soft, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the one we can, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a kind of ribbon for sewing. Yeah, that's a good idea. Try and empty your freezer. Keep it low.
Right, okay. Yeah, we'll look for that. Thank you.
Plastic cheese.
We here get cheese slices.
Single.
And we did an experiment last year, and we actually took a lighter to it. But the cheese slices didn't burn, and they were like we call them locally plastic cheese. I totally agree. Who said that was the Pam? Yeah, plastic cheese.
Plastic burger cheese.
But if this is more of a block formation, it might be this white one that you're saying we've had in the past.
I mean, we even tried burning the snowball, didn't we, a couple of years ago? And it didn't even melt. It just went black.
We did 2 experiments. One winter, we compacted the snow and we burnt it. And it went black and there was no water seeping from it or anything. It just stayed compacted. And we did it the following year and it was real snow because it just seeped everywhere, didn't it? Yeah. It's strange.
Just wonder what they're putting in the atmosphere.
So what's Rick Rack, Tess?
And she said it was a ribbon.
Right, okay. Well, we were puzzled over that for a while, weren't we? Yeah. It's surprising what you can and what you can recan, though, isn't it? You know, I think the first thing we recanned was the tins of fruit cocktail.
Yeah.
I think that was the first thing. And we got about 9 jam jars full from the one catering can. And our son absolutely devoured it. He loved it. Originally, Velveeta was made from real cheese. Today, it's mainly whey protein concentrate, milk.
Mainly whey protein concentrate.
Oh, yeah. Milk protein concentrate, milk fat and preservatives.
And a lot of the food is just full of preservatives.
That's what they're doing to our food now. A lot of it's not real food, is it? We can say that about anything, though. We can say about freeze drying. We can say that about freezing. We can say
now that there's not much nutrients,
you know. But I don't think we're losing a lot of nutrients, and the food doesn't have the nutrients it used to have anyway. We need to fill our bellies more than anything, I think, at the moment. And we can't judge anyone for eating junk food. You know, we've just literally got to have what's available, because I know in our financial circumstances, you know, we couldn't afford to buy organic meat. We couldn't afford to go and buy top
And you
quality.
don't even know if it's organic anymore.
Well, that's with the chemicals falling from the sky, we don't know how it's affecting anyway, even what's growing in our own allotments, do we? But yeah, we've just got to eat what we can eat. And unfortunately, if storing our food slightly affects the nutrients, you know, I eat out-of-date food quite regularly, and people say, you know, the nutrients aren't the same there. But I don't mind eating that out-of-date food, and I'm not sick on it, and it's not affecting me in any way. So the fact that we could lose a bit of the nutrients along the way,
at least if you grow your own, you know what's going in it and what's to an extent.
Yeah.
I'd say whoever controls the food controls
the people.
The people.
Yeah. I watched a film about 20 years ago about a pair of brothers went from firearms dealing to food industry because they can control more people with food than arms. Utterly and completely. Yeah. Someone feeds you, you know, the nutrients are leached into the liquids. Just use the liquids. Yeah, definitely.
As long as it fills you up.
Yeah. And we're getting to that position where beggars can't be choosers. I watched a video earlier this evening about a gentleman saying about the vaccines being in our food. He was saying about the mRNA actually being in things like lettuce and spinach and things like that, which quite frightened me listening to it. So I then Googled to look for further information on it. And it's actually out there that scientists...
That's what they're looking at now.
That's what they're looking at now, because
putting the vaccines in your food.
More and more people are refusing to take them, so they're looking to put them in the food. So they're saying they can vaccine us through a bowl of salad. So if you go onto your search engine, whichever one it is, and you want to look that further, look at mRNA in salad. So, you know, we can be paying, excuse me, top quality prices at supermarkets, at farms, anywhere. But how do we know that these farmers aren't being paid to use these certain chemicals to wash them vegetables in and this, that and the other? We just don't know what we're eating anymore, you know, and it's a roulette. It's a roulette, isn't it? Basically, they control the seeds. That's right.
GMO. We'd love to have a freeze dryer, but they're just too expensive. Highly
expensive. Yeah. Who said they had a freeze dryer?
Beth. We use a freeze dryer.
Yeah. It must take an awful lot of electricity to use it as well, Beth. You know, the cost of buying it and the cost of using it. That's what we thought about. And how much was it? It was about £3,000. £4,000 to buy a freeze dryer, which is
astronomical.
way beyond our reach. But then I suppose even if we had it, you know, even if it was product placement and someone gave us one, to be able to afford to use it, I suppose is a really high cost as well, because you have to leave it on for so long. Correct, Sheila. Soylent Green. Yeah, correct.
And another film, We Live. Have a look at that one if you haven't seen that.
Some people have suggested McDonald's is Soylent Green, haven't they, for a long while?
To save your seeds and do them again next year.
Degradation generally starts to occur in foods or beverages exposed to temperatures of greater than 120 Fahrenheit, which is why steaming vegetables is better since you use less water. Oh my God, 4K for a freeze dryer. Yeah, that's what they're asking here. Yeah. Do you mind me asking how much you paid for yours? Totally, Tessie. Yeah. Put it out for the birds. They ignore it. What was that? What was that, Jan? What did you put out for the birds? Oh, the seeds. Well, that's it. If they're not, the birds aren't eating it. I found that with sunflowers. It's summertime. We grew some, and they were beautiful, you know. And we lay the heads out to dry. And I thought, well, if I lay the heads out to dry, and the birds want to take some, whatever's left, I'll bring in and I'll do in the oven, and I'll salt them, and we can eat those afterwards. And the birds didn't touch them, and I left it out there. And we have birds in the garden all the time, and they come and they hopped in the water retainer. They come and took a bath, come for a drink, and they're all around the garden, and not one of them touched the sunflower seeds. So neither did we.
She paid 1,200 for it.
Wow.
Even that's still quite a lot.
It's an awful lot, and that's still beyond our stretch. Yeah, our budget just doesn't reach that far. But to think that that's available for that price compared to what we're seeing here, you know, yeah, it's fabulous in comparison.
Old skills.
Thank you, Tessie. Well, we did the dehydrating like you do it, Tessie. We have, probably others here too, we have a dehydrator, and we do it as often as we can with different things. But when we've got a surplus of basil or spinach or whatever else we want to dehydrate, in the summer we just put plates on the window ledge here, and with this, we're a south-facing garden, so the heat is lovely coming in on a summer's day, and we dehydrate here on plates in the windowsill. I've often told people they can dehydrate in the car with the sun on a metal dish coming through. Yeah, the free skills are there.
They've got to be, no.
I put pantyhose over the sunflower heads to allow to dry without birds eating the seeds. I can understand that, but as I say, once the birds didn't want to eat the seeds, neither did I. It didn't seem right. I thought if the birds took half or even a few, then yeah, I'd eat the rest. Thanks, Jan. Yeah, well, I shop at the food initiatives because Jan says you eat out of date food, missus. You certainly don't look out of date. I shop at the food initiatives, and one in particular, there'll be, when I say out of date, I mean the best before date is gone by, and I'll still purchase that food. And that food's still good, and sometimes I'm given that food free, and I'll still bring it home and we'll eat it. We don't follow. I don't know if everyone can still hear me. We don't follow the best before dates. If something's fresh and has deteriorated, then yes, that's telling us it's no longer good enough to eat. But if something is in a tin and it's gone past its best before date, we'll totally ignore that. We'll do the look, smell, taste, and if it's good enough for us, it's good enough for us. We find shopping like that, we've been able to maintain a working pantry. We've been able to eat delicious foods. I got the single cream. I told you it was just over a week out of date. Yes, people say be more cautious with dairy, which indeed you should be.
But at least with dairy, you can smell it.
You can smell it straight away. You can look at it and you can see it and you can taste it straight away. And it was perfect. So I've freezed that and I can bring that out at a later date. I have no qualms at all eating anything really past its best before date. I will judge, I will look, smell and taste. But yes, shopping saves me an absolute fortune if I can buy that food. I'm quite happy with it.
We just don't go by dates at all. I mean, we'll buy a box of crisps that are 6 months out of date for £1. It'll be like 48 packets of crisps in the box, and they'll still be fresh. And we'll still have them for like 2 months after that, eating them.
Some of those crisp packets are near enough Mylar bags, the nice silver foil bags, and keeps the
once
air
it's
in
been
and
sealed,
they're still fresh. It's great.
You can eat tins years and years after.
I think a lot of the best before dates are just commerciality. They want that stock off the shelves and they want you to throw it away.
Buy some more.
So you can go and replace everything in your fridge and in your cupboards, and that's what it is. It's a throwaway society, and the landfills are more and more by the day because they're full of this food, and it's good food, and there's no need to throw it away, and we should be feeding our families with it.
Especially if it's dried or it's sealed in a tin.
A sight and smell, that's it. That's what they did years ago, and that's what we have to do now. We're in a depression now, and we have to deal it like a depression. I peel potatoes for sausage tea tonight for the chips. And one part of it had a green section on. Now, obviously, we don't need the green section. And I cut it away till I got to the clear section. That's what my mum and dad did when I was younger. You know, I've heard stories.
Same with cheese. If cheese has gone mouldy
or hard and dry, you cut the mould off and you use the rest of the product. There used to be mould on top of the jam. You'd spoon it away. You'd throw that away, and so long as everything else was clear underneath, you continue to use that.
Same with your bread. If it's the mould's on the crust, cut the crust off. Eat the bread.
That's how our parents did it, you know, and that's how we were brought up. Into depression, and we have to make everything last. We have to eat it all.
Yeah, we've done that as well. Planted the potato peelings. We got a good crop one year. And then we've got a video on that. Was there a video?
It was an experiment in one of the potato beds.
Yeah, we done that, an experiment. We got a good crop just from the peelings.
Pam says I still do that now. So do we. Liquid laundry soap is also weird, since most people do well with 3/4. With 3/4 or half and half the amount called for. Tessie has great videos on homemade laundry soap that is also environmentally good. Fabulous. I'll have to retake a look through through Tessie's backlog videos. I also have a video, Beth, on making laundry liquid from English ivy from the garden, and it's literally the English ivy, and you bring it to a boil on the stove with some water. You take the ivy out, and the water that's left is your detergent. And if you wish to add any smell to it, you can add essential oils or any smells you'd like.
Leave it for 24 hours.
You leave it for 24 hours to marinate. Take the leaves out, and that's your detergent. And it stays fresh for 3 weeks to a month. And you just put a cup, as you normally would with your laundry detergent, into your washing machine or wash by hand with it, and it's a really good laundry detergent, and it's just ivy and water. But I will take a look at that.
I love your mint sauce video.
Who put that?
Tessie.
Thanks, Tess.
Yeah, we love mint sauce.
We do. I like it, even if there's no meat in the meal, you know, I like mint sauce on vegetables.
Veg and potatoes, roast potatoes with gravy.
There's a video on it, Pam, and it's in the backlog. It's called English Ivy Laundry Detergent. Even if I do say so myself, it's a good video, you know. And you know,
the amount of soap you get out of it, you just wouldn't believe.
It has a chemical in it, in the ivy, called saponin. That's what creates the suds. So when you just literally, the liquid that you make, when you literally just shake it in the tub afterwards, you can see all the froth appear of how sudsy it is, you know, and it really does work. It's good. You can definitely, Beth. If you look in the backlog of my videos, it's called English Ivy Laundry Detergents. I quickly just walk you through the steps.
So easy.
Yeah.
It's just the picking of it. That's the hardest part.
Right, guys, it's 2 minutes to 12. So we'll just take last comments now and any more questions, and then Mr. Wallflowers and I are going to have to retire for the night. But it's so fabulous talking to you all, and I'm glad so many people have joined us tonight. It's lovely. So last comments now, guys, and any more questions. So Beth, oh my God, I love mint sauce on sweet peas, fresh or frozen. Well, again, that's another video that Tessie's just mentioned in my backlog. You know, sorry to keep mentioning this, but I need 31 more subs before we go monetized.
No, 70 subs.
No, 30 subs. Oh,
on
70
9:30.
subs. Sorry. We need 70 subs more before we go monetized.
We've got the hours, the watch hours.
All the hours are caught up. But what we want to do with our monetization is the same as what Karen from Prime of Midlife does. She makes a donation every month to her local, she's based in Scotland. She makes a donation every month to her food banks and initiatives and any causes in her area, and we'd like to do the same here. I have one food bank in particular I would like to make the first donation to, and the two food initiatives that I use, I'd like to give them a donation for the running of the facilities to be able to keep them above board.
Presents for the kids this year as well.
Oh, for the children up there. But you meant ours.
That's a $2.
But yeah, any donation we can make to them to help the community. So
we have to buy me a coffee.
We have the Buy Me a Coffee logo at the moment was originally set up to buy a microphone. And we've got enough already to buy the microphone, but we've left it up.
Anything that's left we're going to go shopping and buy some presents, like cheap presents,
toys, colouring books, felt tips, chalks, crayons, anything like that we can get.
Initiative.
Well, they'll go to our local food bank, which will then be put for the local children in our area, and that'll be for Christmas. So we're hoping, only obviously those that can afford, that'll be the Buy Me a Coffee before Christmas, and we're hoping to achieve the 70 subs Christmas or just after Christmas, and then we'll be making a regular monthly donation.
Thanks, Tessie. That'd be a big help if you could share it on your channel.
Oh, that's fabulous, Tessie. Thank you so much. As I say, we need 71, is it?
Well, it keeps going from 929 to 930, so it's either 70 or 71 we need.
Yeah, when we hit that, then we'll be able to...
Cheers, Tessie. I hope so.
It's a beautiful food bank, yeah. I've seen Tessie's one as well. That's wonderful. And
that's
she
like
helps
our
out.
one as well.
It's so the same similar kind of setup, yeah. And the ethos is exactly the same. Don't waste anything. If we can feed people, if we can provide for people, and then the leftovers is used for the animals, it's exactly the same, yeah. You will have it by tonight.
She's working on it now.
We love you, love. We love you all. Yeah. We're so blessed. We're so blessed to have met such wonderful people here through this community.
Brilliant again tonight.
It's been an absolute fabulous night, and we've enjoyed all your company. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, so you'll be doing one next week with Karen, won't you?
I'll be doing one with Karen on the 17th.
It's on Prime and Midlife channel.
And we've got the Christmas video coming out with channels from all of our community. And we have a guest star from America who's actually there. I don't want to spill the beans. I don't want to tell everyone exactly who's there and who isn't. But we've got a wonderful Christmas video coming out for you all and showing wonderful community spirit and love from all of us. And without the subs, you know, we're subs on everyone else's channel. And without the subs, there is no channel. There is no channel, you know, there is no YouTube. Without all of us watching everyone else's channel, there wouldn't be a YouTube, never mind anyone's channels. It's the subs that make the channels. And the community we all have when we all come together is the best. And just tonight, our little community here, just one fragment of the whole bigger community. We're blessed, aren't we? We're absolutely blessed.
It's been brilliant again.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
3 hours have just flew.
We're going to have to love you and leave you because it's so late in the evening.
We'll be back on the Christmas Eve.
We'll be back Christmas Eve. Yeah, certainly. And we'll see you all then. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for having the patience and crossing over to the new link. And thank you for the interaction. It's been absolutely wonderful. Love to you all. Good night.
Good night. Good afternoon, if you're in America.